Like Labubu stems off of another thing called monsters, and Labubu's an actual demon. I just got back from Vietnam, and to see how much of a craze it is over there, we did a layover in Japan, and that is the thing right now. It's palatable, but God forbid you say Christ is king. The only time that Christ gets brought up is in a negative format, but you can summon a demon on SNL.
This is it right here, holy shit.
That's Lady Gaga in the middle.
Get the out of here, man.
Pentagrams.
This is fucking nuts.
All the laughs.
Wait, now it's so lost here. Andre, bring up the lost to Mistress of Insanity.
What the fuck?
True, that's her heart.
This is fucking disgusting.
That's hard to watch.
These are like the little connections I make just with everyday life, whether it's the road rage or the people acting like self-absorbed. They could care less about what you think, because it's shit like this that's constant.
The Ruffled Podcast.
Welcome everybody, thank you for joining us. We are here for another episode of the Ruffled Feathers Podcast, episode 18.
Ooh, 18.
Yeah, we're
Let's
here. Thanks for joining us. It's 18 episodes. If this episode were anything, it's a good sign that we're like still here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're watching, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. Pabs appreciates it.
Most definitely.
Our most honored guest.
I appreciate
She's been here the most.
Thank you.
Jared.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Always good to be here, man.
Thank you for joining us, man. And well, he was on our pilot episode, which never aired because
One of our pilots.
but he's here now. The character, the one and only Buddha.
Honored to be here. Hell
Yes.
yeah.
Thanks for coming, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
This over the world.
It's an honor to have you here, man.
I've watched y'all come from nothing to this, and then, like I said, the editing is on point. I tell you, you're up there. You're
It
up
means
there.
a lot, man. Thank you.
I'm
thank you.
impressed and blown away by it. Just a little bit of time. Your editing, the way you do a little pout, that's on
Thank
point.
you, man. It's a journey, and we're like practicing every episode. And I think even still to this day, I don't think we're at the full potential of what this podcast is gonna
Personally,
be.
we don't feel like that, but it's good to hear it.
Watching the evolution
Yeah.
is an honor. I mean,
Yeah.
watching the evolution.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
man, got something special here.
Thank you, man.
Let's rock on with it.
We
You
keep
know?
Yeah.
working. We keep working towards it, and you know, it's people like y'all, man, that make it happen.
Thank you.
Honestly.
In the world.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, because this is a podcast of the people, for the people,
Mhm.
by the people. And that's why we want guests of every light and every culture. That's why we're trying to get more people who disagree with us. So this is that plug-in for if you've seen the podcast, if you see our shorts, if you see what we're trying to do, if you disagree, we want you here not to just fight you, but to just talk these things out and see if
100%.
we can find common ground and figure out how to fucking live in this world together as one. Otherwise, you do have to fight me. And I know how to fight. You know, you do.
Right.
Who wants that?
Right.
Right. So we're looking
Yeah.
you're looking for a little more maturity in it. You know what I'm saying? If,
Yeah.
You know, possible.
Yeah, because we can talk shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. of
Also,
course.
to
Agree to
you know,
disagree.
elaborate that everybody's voice can make a difference and should be
Yeah.
heard, you know, because, you know, it's easy to just argue and debate and go back and forth, but when you really try to understand and hear somebody else out, you get things done. You know, things happen, things move forward, progress.
100%.
compromise
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and
It's all
understanding.
love. It's all love.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Stop.
we'll take a little break.
The pause.
All right, 3, 2. So, man, it's been a crazy fucking week, man. Like, we've had rain randomly.
Man.
So I think conspiracy moment with the fucking chemtrails
But
and
the skies looked weird lately. I don't know if y'all noticed. It's more like faded out, you know? It's like no clouds, but it still looks like gray or like
Bluish gray?
Like a grayish blue, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not used to it raining this much in this time of the year in Texas.
I agree with that 100%. Growing up and look at the patterns, what I know growing up here, it's been different. You know,
Yeah.
the sporadics and everything, yeah, 100%. So, and we do cloud seed. I mean, that's a known fact.
That's
you know?
that's yeah.
Just so you know, that is factual. It's not
We do
a.
cloud seed, you know.
and they've been doing it.
And if you want to get a specific case, Dubai.
Yep.
Dubai is known for it, and you see what happens when they do it. They kind of messed up. So yeah, it does happen. You
And
know?
it goes back to Vietnam. It goes back even further than that. That we were cloud seeding to prolong the monsoon season so that the bad guys couldn't use their trails to reinforce their troops with food and ammunition. So this shit's real. So at this point, I love being a conspiracy theorist because that just means you're honest and you actually fucking take the time
conspiracy realist.
Right.
Not theory
Almost
now.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the thing is, okay, it could be used for good, right? Because if it's a drought and crops need to grow, healthy, we can use it for that. But instead, we choose to weaponize it. We choose to go the other way with that, and that's the sad part. That's the people in control that choose that direction.
But who are we to even say that this drought is not necessary?
True.
It could be the earth saying, hey, we need to move around to this region now. And this region becomes green now that was once brown or dead. So, I mean, we're just a fucking bleep on the earth's lifespan. So, what other crazy shit? Oh, we got KD in Houston. Kevin Durant.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, that's huge.
So I was excited about that. I had some friends that were kind of upset about that because he's too old. But I'm digging that.
No, we need his leadership, man. He's mature. He's a mature player. He's a quiet, humble player. I'm glad we got rid of Jalen Green. We did not need him. I don't know too much about the other two players, but that we traded for him. But I do like his maturity level because we just need leaders, like especially at the time where basketball is at. I don't like basketball at all. It just seems too political, too flashy. Everyone's hitting threes, and you see that. My friend is a basketball coach for the youth, and so you see that they're trying to imitate that as well. So a guy like KD, especially in Houston, we're a basketball city, to see his level of maturity and leadership is needed. I'm glad that we're going to hopefully get 2-3 years out of him,
That's all we need.
I like that. It's true.
I agree with you. I'm not a big sports guy, but I do know Kevin Durant. So our team, looking from the outside, from somebody who's not a huge basketball sports fan, but I'm a fan, we need a leadership and we also needed a big name. We haven't had a big name in a while, and that kind of helps motivate the team also, I think, especially like fans here in the city. KD coming here, that's pretty big. He got a lot of respect for them too. It wasn't like a crazy, janky, underside trade. It was well done. So I'm looking forward to that.
It was a good trade too.
Yes, I'm excited to see what happens for sure.
Yeah, and then shout out to OKC winning the championship.
Yeah.
Bunch of young cats who play good basketball, gritty, hardcore basketball.
And it was good to see somebody else get it.
Thank you. That was my next thing I was saying. Yeah, it wasn't like a 3-peat, 4-peat, or somebody somebody who's earned it. It was good to see that it wasn't influenced by other things. I think at least it was a good, honest win.
Yeah,
that team took it well. It wasn't just given to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, but shit too. I think it was yesterday or the day before, man. Right down the street, because we in the hood in South Side of Houston, Texas. I don't know if you heard that story. These two friends that walk every morning at 6 a.m. at the park.
Dudes.
Two old
70 in their 70s were just walking their normal morning walk. And somebody came and executed them in the back of the heads, man. Both of them.
Execution?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So there's no official
what happened,
but it could be probably initiation or gang related.
Or their grandsons did some stupid ass shit.
Or it could be something that came back and haunted them for sure. Ain't no telling.
Whatever it was,
still
it
sad.
Regardless, it shouldn't have happened. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, apparently it was like a routine, right? Like they've been doing it for like years, getting together. It's like we buddies. Hey man, let's go for a walk. And then one day your last one. That's crazy.
Because I bring that up too because what you were talking about earlier with the road rage.
So yesterday I experienced some road rage going to work, and I actually had a life lesson on that one. And I'm gonna give a PSA to everybody out there. So I'm going on 610 going to work. I cut a guy off an accident, no big deal. He gets really pissed, and it was a truck full of like 4 guys, tools, they're workers. They're going to work too. But I pissed them off. So of course they're doing the natural fuck you and next me trying to brake check me. So I'm old school. I just blew them kisses. I got no time for that shit. But I blew them kisses. Well, I guess that triggered them. So the passenger pulls a gun on me. So I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm gonna pull my gun, and I stopped for a second. I said, wait a minute, I don't want to fuck with this bullshit. So I just grabbed my camera. I rolled the window down on my car and I flipped around like I was videoing him. And you would think I pulled a fucking bazooka on him. He hit the brakes so fucking hard. fucking started getting lanes over, and then he jumped the grassy part to get to the feeder road to take off and exit. And I'm still sitting like in shock, like what the fuck just happened? But what I did learn was sometimes the phone is more mightier than the gun. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to tell people, if you experience road rage nowadays, pull that fucking phone out and start recording. You got tinted windows, roll them down. Because if they're going to act the ass regardless of not acting ass, you have it on film. You have it on tape. Because they're going to do what they want to do. Hopefully that'll deter them, get the fuck off the road and leave you alone. But so this is my new thing to Houston because we have a lot of road rage here. Yeah. We even have road rage like cop teams out there looking for it, you know what I'm saying? Which is awesome. I'm loving they're doing that, but it's become a really common thing here, man. Like shootings just for fucking road rage. Because when people are in their car, they have this like entitlement, but like they're in their car, they're more gangster or whatever it's going to be because they can get away with it or use it as a weapon or whatever.
Well, I always say like people drive like their online personality.
There you go. That's the best way to
put it,
brother. Yeah.
Online, you're big bad.
Big bad, yeah.
Fuck you.
Yes.
You fucking bitch. And they'll be racist or they'll be whatever. And they're the same in the car. Like, man, bitch, I'm late.
Yes.
I'm gonna fuck about you.
Yeah.
You in my way.
Yeah. And they act an ass. And these people, they're weak-minded because they act off emotion. Yeah. Their emotions is running them. And so it lets me know already, fuck, they're not in the right state of mind. But if you're going to pull a gun to show it or whatever, in my mind, the way I was raised,
I don't
lift that truck up.
If it's out, it's going to bark.
Because I know it's in there. I'm going to lift that truck up and call my lawyer. Yeah. You know, that's what I'm going to do. But see, you don't have to because those people, I knew they were fathers, I'm sure, and but they weren't thinking at the time. But anyway, like I said, if you can do a road rage incident for nowadays, pull that fucking phone and start videoing everything. And then if there's somebody acting a fool, screaming, yelling, put them online, blast them online, because we gotta get this shit under control.
Public shame.
Yeah, and we have to get it under control because it's so fucking common, man. Yeah. And we all have guns here.
Yeah.
People don't understand that we have a lot of people that have moved here from during COVID and everything. They don't understand we've been packing guns since the 80s in our cars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And we have no problem firing back right now. And so. That's a useless killing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you when I was coming up to the studio one day, or on my way up here, I'm at a left turn only lane, and little white Malibu pulls up to my right, which is either go straight or go right. Light turns green. There's nobody behind me. I'm old school. I'm watching every lane. I'm making sure I know who's around me, who's behind me, who's coming across. Should I wait to turn? Because, people run red lights all the time.
That happened this morning. Somebody ran the red light way late, bro. He almost hit somebody.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I'm aware on the road at all times for violations like that or just some hood shit. So, okay, fuck it. Light turns green. Nobody's coming. This car starts to go that way. So I turn left. And on that particular lane, when you turn left, the road curves. So right when you turn left, you're on one lane. But because of road curves, if you keep driving straight, you just happen to merge to the other lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know exactly.
So I'm okay, fuck it. I do that, and then I see the car behind me go, and he comes around behind me. So he's kind of like gunning it, and I'm like, whatever. I'm cruising, and so he tries to go around me, but I merge to the other lane. So he tries to merge to that lane, and then he comes back around to the side of me, and then he comes to my passenger side. And I'm seeing him in the rear view. I'm like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you, bro? Like, and so I'm looking over, and he's got a limo tent. He rolls the window down, and as the window's rolling down, he's like this. He's got a Glock with the extendo on there, and I see him. He's pointing right at my face. So I'm like, and I start laughing. I go, for real? I go, all right. So he burns off, and I already know there's a red light waiting at the end of the street. So I pull my gun out. I'm like, all right, let's see what's gonna happen. Because when I pull up to the intersection, he's got the door popped, like he's about to pop out the side. So I stop about 15 feet before him because it's dumb if you just come right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. But these are tactics. Like these are things you understand. Yeah. But dumb, ignorant people who have never lived through actual true violence or understand that people are evil or can do stupid things and hurt you, you do the precautionary things to make sure you're safe.
Yes.
and that you're able to go home that night. So, but I stopped there. I popped my door. I got my gun loaded. We're ready. I'm already thinking if that door opens more, I'm ducking. I'm opening this door. I'm coming around the back of the side. I'm coming to the side of my the rear side of my truck, and I'm It's
That's some
going
down
down.
shit right there. I like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You're looking at
Yeah, I was ready.
I was raised in a, I was right here in Clark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like, I'm ready, bro.
Action plan, yeah.
But it was already premeditated on my end because he showed he's aggressive and he's
Yes.
ready and he's got nothing to lose.
Your fear of your
And
life.
in a situation like that, you can't have a conversation like, sir, please stop.
Yeah.
No. But his light turned green and then he just sped off and I was like, fuck it. But that's the type of world we're at.
20 seconds right there could have lost your life.
Sometimes it's just like that adrenaline that makes you act stupid, you know? You just want, in the moment, you gotta make yourself feel right. And that's like the worst thing you could do, man.
People are so arrogant about being in the wrong. They do the wrong thing. And I don't know if that's just a here thing or the whole United States is doing it or whatever, but they do something wrong and then they're arrogant. What are you gonna do? You know, like, what? Like, I'm seeing, like, to piggyback off that, you'll see grown people even cut in lines and stuff like that. It's like, people are so confident about doing the wrong things. It's really weird from the time that we grew up in. You know?
No, it is. And I think a lot of that is like they think nobody's going to confront them for the most part.
Yeah.
And when you do confront them, then they're like, oh shit, so now they got to act an ass.
Karen mode.
That's really what it is. Yeah, that's really what it is. You act an ass because it's like anybody that's got their emotions under control can take that moment to breathe, to cool off a little bit and be like, okay, what's really happening here? Okay, it was a misunderstanding. Let's go about our day. Or, fuck, we're going to fucking kill each other over you cutting online and, fuck all these people type shit. It's sad, but I think that's a representation of where the world is today. Like, I feel that it could be doom scrolling. It messes with our emotions, the instant gratification, what do you say, like that dopamine? So we get so used to this immediate dopamine that's synthetic, or not synthetic, but temporary,
It's synthetic too, because it's not real.
Yeah, it's not real.
Yeah, I guess that fits as well. But, that changes us as humans because then it makes us more selfish, even though we can still be good people. Because I feel it too. Sometimes I roll rage, I don't act it, but sometimes I feel like this motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm not letting him in.
That's another thing we don't do here. We don't zipper fuck a motherfucker here, and you got to take your spot. You do. It's just the way it is here.
But it wasn't like that before.
No.
When I first started driving in the early 2000s, people were like, oh, come on in. And then I would be sure, like, thank you, sir.
What the fuck is that now? You wave it, you fucking give him the finger, but no, that's gone. Yeah. Now we do not zipper at all. We won't take that fucking spot. That's the way it is. You take it, shit, you got it. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
But I get anxiety, like, fuck, I just had to cut in. But But I'm not used to that.
Bro, like, that's how it is in Mexico. In Cancun, when I went to Cancun, bro, like, there ain't no lanes.
Yeah.
You drive where the fuck you want to drive.
But they're not aggressive in the sense of they're not going to shoot you.
Right, no, they just fucking cuss you and then keep going. Every car has a bump on each corner.
No shit. Insurance must be a motherfucker.
But then, you still learn that love, that courtesy. Like, okay, it's like we're in a crowded place. We're going to bump shoulders. We're not going to fight over that.
Yeah. How did that conclude, man? Like, I mean.
Well, homie just burnt off.
Of course.
Like I got his plates and shit, and I let my homie know, a lawman, and he's like, "Well, just put a report in it." And I'm like,
"What's that gonna do?" Yeah.
But at the same time, that happens probably once every or 5 times an hour.
Yeah.
In just different areas of the city.
Yeah.
So obviously, they can't use their resources to go find these people that do these things like that because. Even the police force is so small right now. They have to prioritize, violent crime.
Yeah, they're like, "Did you die?"
Right. Yeah. Like earlier, we were talking that shit. We have a task force now for this fucking road rage shit.
Yeah.
Crazy
Necessary,
we have it, but
thank
it's
God.
necessary. But that, dude, I was like, I saw this morning in the news. So like, all right,
what you got here?
You'd never think that you'd be rooting for the laws.
No,
right?
Pull
that motherfucker.
Accountability.
So look, here it goes. Houston is leading the nation in road rage incidents, particularly those involving firearms. From 2014 to 23, the city recorded 215 road rage incidents, with 192 resulting in shootings and 200 victims being shot, according to Axios. This translates to a significant number of people being injured or killed due to road rage in Houston during that period. So that's, what's that, 6, 7, 8?
This is why we became a Gremlin city. This city is no longer Space City. We are Gremlin fucking city. And that's just because of what's been going on. COVID, everybody moving here. We're not our culture anymore. Our culture's been lost. We're gumbo. You know what I'm saying? And we, hate to say it, we need something tragic like another fucking big hurricane to bring us all back together. What happens, the city kind of spins out of control.
Yeah.
Something fucking big happens. Hurricane, we all bond together.
Yeah, we gotta remember humanity.
Yes. And so, and I don't know if it'll work this time because there's so many different people come here. We got from all over Wisconsin, California.
But Houston's kind of always been that.
Yeah.
That's why we've
True.
had our different areas
You're
where
right.
you could go, all of a sudden you're in Little No, now you're in Little El Salvador, now you're in Chinatown. Or now you're in Rainbow City. So,
and that's why we just need something to bring us together because we've been kind of out of control lately.
But I think it's just the world. And that's like the whole podcast, messaging is we get to feel it in our personal cities and towns and homes, but this is a worldwide thing. And that's what's scary to me because, we'll go out of order, but I haven't seen it yet. He brought it to my attention about the SNL skit.
Have you seen that?
Which one?
Just 2 weeks ago.
Lady Gaga did. It was like I think the restaurant is called Friendly's or something, and they're making like a spoof about it or something. And the girl lies about being her birthday. They're gonna come sing her birthday, but then instead of them like singing happy birthday, they're like testing her, and then she lies. So then they start summoning this demon, bro. And the demon is a real ass demon. They use the name several times.
Can you play it real quick?
We'll watch it
because I haven't seen it.
I'm interested to see
But this is something on public television on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mainstream.
10 p.m. What?
Mm-hmm. Now the SNL. That's the demon.
She was believed to feed on the blood of human infants and was widely blamed as the cause of miscarriages and clot deaths.
So we've covered shit about it.
So this is a demon that's a real deity, and these writers are doing fucking skits using specific demons.
But look at the image,
for humor.
Dude. That's hieroglyphic stuff. That's like
that's ancient. That's Mesopotamia. That's one of the original cultures. Have you seen the shit? My chiropractor, he had posted up some stuff about Labubu is an actual demon.
Yeah.
Like Labubu stems off of another thing called monsters or something like that. And Labubu is an actual demon to where it's supposed to actually haunt children or something like that. Like suck your nightmares or something like that. But yeah, man, like he posted something about that and I was like, I just got back, I was telling you, from Vietnam, and to see how much of a craze it is over there. We did a layover in Japan, and it's just, that's it. That is the thing right now.
It's here.
It's
here now. It's here.
Yeah, it's here for sure. But I thought it was just, some weird shit that people are on, like that's just me. I don't get.
Like Furbies.
Yeah.
It's just But like, it looks demonic too.
Well, exactly. And then now it's a fad, but they indoctrinated into us, and the youth want it really bad. They have no idea.
It's palatable, but God forbid you say Christ is king. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't talk about Jesus Christ. The only time that Christ gets brought up is in a negative format, but you can summon a demon on SNL.
You can ridicule Christianity, bro. And nobody was going to say shit. But talk about the Muslim religion or the Jewish religion.
They'll come whoop you. They'll come sue you or murder you.
How dare you?
How insensitive, how uncultured you are.
Is that a real one?
Yeah, those are real Labubu.
They had that fangs and yes.
But there was this one video of this one little Hispanic girl that was saying that the eyes were changing colors, dude. Like, and she throws it on the ground and she's fucking terrified of this thing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been multiple cases that were talking about how like, nah, this shit ain't right.
But these are like the little connections I make just with everyday life, whether it's the road rage or it's the people acting like, self-absorbed, that they could care less about what you think, because it's shit like this that's just constant. Like,
well, and then also like, dude, like I noticed Netflix, 80% of the shit is demonic. 80% of the stuff they're promoting, the movies, they're all like dark, related.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's see if we can watch this video. Obviously I cut it and sped it up just for the sake of, not.
This is just clips of it. Yeah.
But that's Lady Gaga in the middle.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
In the red,
the chalice.
Yeah.
Dude, that's okay. That's demonic as fuck.
Sin!
Pentagrams.
It's fucking nuts.
All the laughs.
Lamassu has seen through you.
Oh, great. Now they've summoned Lamash too.
Now drink. Drink of the blood of Lamash too. The mistress of insanity. The magician Pazuzu cannot save you now. Hear the roar of the demon dog.
How do they even check if it's someone's birthday?
We
send someone to the hospital.
The blood of Lamashtu awakens Molaram.
Come, birthday girl, come with Molaram. Kalima, Kalima Shakti.
That's her heart.
He took my heart.
This is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, like that's hard to watch.
I mean, like straight
disgusting.
in your face, bro. And these are real demons and real chants and real.
The one thing I have to say, thank God, SNL fucking sucks. Nobody watches it anymore.
Yeah.
But still, that was on public TV.
But bro, like
God damn,
these
dude.
videos, like on YouTube, at least they're clips. They're still getting 5 million
Yo,
views.
I know.
for-
It's like, you
and
know,
that's just on YouTube. So combine that with Twitter,
Jesus.
X,
Reels, yeah.
Reels.
And what's to say that's not real blood?
Well,
it didn't even matter. Just the way they portrayed
Right,
the whole thing.
yeah,
right.
Shit, that was because I know right now if my daughter watched that, she'd be looking up who that demon is. Just because now they said the name, they focus on it. So I know if I was a 15-year-old kid, the fuck is this real? What the fuck? Holy shit! Now you get information about this.
And then you go talk about it, and you start spreading it. You start chanting
Yeah,
with it.
exactly.
when I was first looking into all that stuff as a younger man, like, when we were growing up, or, 2010 is when I graduated high school. So the Illuminati thing, it's real, it's fake. Like nobody, it was, very, divided on what it was. But then I read a book on demonology and it was talking about, it was written from a Christian standpoint. So it wasn't like I'm, studying how to do this shit myself, but these are the things to look out for. And he was very careful to tell you, like, you're not supposed to, I'm putting the name in here to let you know the name of the entity, but you do not say it out loud. Because just like if I were to say your name, hey, bird, like, hey, what's going on? Do I need to be in here?
Right.
You're not allowed to say the name of these things because it brings it to it. There was this one particular in there, and I'm going to say the name, only for this podcast reasons, right? But there was one particular in there that was called a Nina, and then at that same point in time, you had songs like Riding Around with That Nina. That was whenever the 9mm.
That's my Glock thing right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the fuck?
When did we call these things Nina? We used to just call it like a 9, and then somehow, like culturally, they put it into it to say Nina, and into like we're talking about road rage right now. That demon is right there with us now because we call it that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely, dude.
So you just kind of see, like you said, going back to your point, it's like you see how all this stuff is kind of infused into us. And now we're all kind of dealing with like a sense of possession, because you can have, you can be dealing with demons and still be saved and still be going to heaven, but you just, you're still dealing with it in yourself. You're still having an attachment unknowingly. So. Yeah, but that was something I thought was interesting. And, now seeing this, it's just so like.
That's such a good point, because on another one, we talked about 3-6 Mafia and how they were, not all of them, but they were truly
demonic
and truly worshiping satanic rituals.
He's like, well, I want to bring it to the black people.
Yeah, how do I do
culture?
this?
Yeah. Oh, well, and I mean, they fucking are known.
Yeah.
Mafia is a big group.
What's crazy is Juicy J's father is a pastor.
Yeah.
Like, and I just found that out because I was looking at two girls who were, they make you, they're victimizing people who are putting themselves in these positions, but Juicy J's father, a pastor, a known pastor, got these two girls an abortion, which at least in the religion, if you're following and adhering to it, you're not supposed to do. But it's like, dang, the pastor is facilitating this, which I don't necessarily have a huge standpoint on it politically. I just know personally, this is what I believe, right? But if you're also going to be a part of this same thing, so you kind of see how like, the whole, demonology, Satanism stuff has attached even to Christianity. Yeah, for a leader in a church to be able to do something like this, So if he was a regular man, if he's just Juicy J's father who works at the plants, you want to do that, hey, that's personal decisions. But you just see how it's kind of leached into
everything. You're the leader of faith in your Christian
you represent
church.
God.
Correct.
I love what you said, because recently I just discovered something. I got into Christianity when I was about 15 years ago, because I was raised Buddhist, but we were talking about this conspiracy, me and my work buddy. I did not know in the was it where the Pope is?
Vatican.
The Vatican, where the Pope sits. That sculpture behind him?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's fucking dynamic as fuck.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be from the Tree of Life.
Yes, but
have you ever seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I know that.
Look up. I've never looked at
Pope's throne.
His throne. But also, if you look at the building it's in, it's a head of a snake.
There, the middle one.
Fucking nuts.
I know
Serpent.
the temple's dimensions.
Look at this thing. Look at how demonic this fucking thing looks. This is a huge
that's
thing.
His throne, bro.
Yeah. He sits right in front of that.
And who's that woman? Or
it's supposed to be Jesus.
It's supposed to be Jesus rising up.
Crazy.
And it's
when I first saw that, bro, I was like, "What the fuck?"
And then look at the snake head. It's a serpent. So
the building.
And I'm like, holy shit.
Well, everything about the Vatican is off because the dimensions are in I think it's either Numbers or Deuteronomy. So like the Jude Jew religion, like the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
So they give you the dimensions of how the temple is supposed to be, what side of the sun it's supposed to face, how long the wall is. Everything is opposite for how they created the Vatican, like the way that it faces and everything. So it's like literally like the middle finger to God or whatever.
It's like the upside down cross, basically.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Look at this. Look how crazy this is.
Look how big it is.
That's a better depiction of it.
That's awful.
His throne sits in front of that. It's fucking nuts.
But I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I have heard that it was supposed to be carved out of a piece of the tree of life.
What's the tree of life?
No, it's like
the Adam.
It's made from
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's a far-fetched
How do you know where that's at? Yeah. And why would you cut it down?
But what if?
right?
Well, because I mean, if they have history and if they have like relics, that's a relic. Ain't nobody gonna touch that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't give that away to everybody.
Well, and I believe that too because stuff like what is it? The thing that they hold the 10 Commandments in and all those type of things. Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant and stuff. Like all those things are kind of like hidden, possessed. Like they're not for public, you know. So even though this is like
it was
public
for the
thing,
public.
it's for the people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And this is where it gets into like a lot of sacrilegious talk.
Yeah.
Because then you have, biblical scholars are like who can refute or have an excuse to say, well, this is why this is like this. Or,
that's snake eyes.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the fangs too.
Yeah, that's the room that it sits in.
Yeah, the little...
So it's a serpent. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the building from the outside up, like aerial view, it's a fucking head of a snake. It's fucking nuts. The whole building was designed that way. And it's like, that is so...
And as an artist...
To me, anti-Christian. To me,
yeah.
Right.
As an artist, I can understand depicting hell.
Yes.
And instilling like, look, this is real. Like hell's real. But when you're there to worship
you're the
Most High.
Yeah.
But there's so much conspiracy with the Vatican is coming out now.
Yeah.
The shit they hide, everything.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Up those portals and all that.
They recently condoned like the whole gay marriage stuff and all that type of stuff, which again, if that's you, if that's what you do, that's what you do. Like, that's not what we as the religion do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's cool if y'all want to do that. We don't define it as marriage, you know? So, but
it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
How crazy is that, man?
That's crazy. With the red eye and everything.
That's just bananas. Like, if that's not screaming, hey, but
also like the theory about the hat that he wears. Have you seen that? It's like a fish god.
Head, yeah.
See if you can pull that up, Alex. The Pope's hat, fish god. It's like apparently like there's this. I think it's from the Anunnaki too. I think if I'm not mistaken.
The symbolism.
I mean, obviously,
wild.
I was raised Catholic. You know, in my teens, I denounced it because I was like, man, religion seems off. Through my addiction, through my recovery, I came back to Catholicism. But then I'm starting to realize again, like, dude, there's a bunch of symbolism and like stuff like that. Look at that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like the Catholic Church, or let's say, it was infiltrated, right? And clearly. The other
everything about it with like as Christians, because we talked about before, like Christian, Catholic, Mormon, like all these things are different sects of Christianity, right? But in Christianity, you're told to directly confess your sins to God, like through Jesus Christ, because that's what Christ died for. If not, we'd still be sacrificing lambs and burning sheep or whatever, right? So because Christ came and gave us that, intermediary. Yeah. So now we go through Christ to talk to God. However, with the papacy and, all the little, other separate Catholic churches down here, you're supposed to confess your sins to man, which is the Pope or
or a priest.
Priest.
It's supposed to be a priest,
which is not correct. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says, you're supposed to do that. That's a part of it. No, it's just confessing your sins to God. Like, and it's just one of those things again that like, I think it just cuts people off from the direct line to, the Father. Like, Yeah,
and it could be a form of like perversion, like, or a form of like If say there could be a sadistic priest that just wants to hear wants to hear like the sins of people or something, or if the religion did get that infiltrated,
I'm sure
it's
there
a
are.
form of like praising Satan.
Well,
or,
yeah,
like,
even modern day Christianity is cult-like in the same sense. Even modern day Christianity is marrying, gay people and condoning things. Like men are wearing hats inside of the temple.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to do those things. So, I'm even seeing modern day Christianity still have their hands dirty as well. So I think it's just one of those things like the Book of Eli. It's like you can use this word for power and advantage, like the guy in that town was trying to use it for, or you can use this to save the world, because either way it says the word of God is like is sharper than any two-edged sword. A sword could be used to steal, a sword could be used to protect, so I just kind of think that that's where it's at. But all these things are supposed to be happening. So it is comforting to see it, because these things do usher in the end times. We know that we need to be watching for the Antichrist. Yep. We know that the Antichrist spirit is here. SNL skits, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
even 100%.
Yeah, even because another one is I don't know. Y'all see Will Smith's trying to make a comeback.
Oh yeah, that guy is weird, bro.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
His new song is what's
Pretty
it called?
Girls.
Pretty Girls.
Yeah, I seen the little clips.
20.
I know.
Look, we got a video.
Hey, he's got.
How old is Will Smith?
He's looking good, man. I'm proud of him for looking good. Took care of his body.
Hey, but when you got that kind of money,
yeah, good for him.
And then when you're drinking kids' blood, like
you're drinking the right juice. But the thing is that it gives off I guess like a precedence, or what do you call it? Like it gives off a bad, I guess, leadership, right? Or it's a bad example. Because he's old, say he's like in his 50s. I'm not sure we could pull that up. We could confirm his age.
Yeah, he's at least 50.
But he's
like,
promoting, dating and girls and which is like natural as a man,
Well, especially the way he lives his lifestyle, though. Like he's so hypocritical. His lifestyle with his wife now, current wife now, and his son, and what he's done with Diddy, and all that they're trying to he's got a new publicist, in other words. They're trying to make him look good again because his trials are getting over Diddy right now, and so his name's gonna be in there. What, might not? I don't know.
So, but you talking about Jada, his wife Jada?
Yeah.
Okay, but dude, I mean, look, she's embarrassed and diminished.
Yeah, she's gone. She lost it. Yeah. But his son Jalen, he gave his son to Diddy, and Diddy had to fucking take him for years and raise him and fucking raped him. You know what I'm saying? That's why Jalen didn't fuck with his parents.
Yeah.
So what he's preaching now is not what he practiced. You see what I'm saying? Like his
lifestyle,
when he became a
That's
big star,
what I was trying to say.
all that, all that bad shit.
Yeah.
That black magic voodoo shit. Because in the Hollywood world, either you accept the demonology, you don't. And if you don't accept it, you're out.
Yeah.
You're X'd out. And that's what that cult, that Hollywood, they fucking love the devil.
Yeah. They gotta have you doing some shit. It's a blackmail you.
I think Cat's a good example. Like she all of a sudden went demonic, you know what I'm saying? All this fucking crazy shit with her.
Cat.
Yeah. And then, if you're in the entertainment industry, once they get you, you know it.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of made me think about 3 6 Mafia. Now, was he always like that? It was when he got big. When they got big, because I met them when they were young. We were, CeeLo. I met those guys when they were, first starting out with cool fucking regular hood dudes. They used to come to Houston, do little shows here. But maybe that's why he got his takeoff. I don't know. That's my opinion on that.
Well, I do personally believe that there are gatekeepers.
Yes, there you go.
And I think no matter how talented you are, no matter how good your music is or your art, if you're not down with them, you're not gonna go prime time.
Yeah.
When Cat Williams, when he spoke out, man, that was fucking huge.
Yeah.
It kind of exposed the industry. And that opened my eyes up too, because they try to come for him. And now he's trying to do his own right now. And he could have sunk his when he did that. You know what I'm
But
saying?
see, my question is, how is he still safe? Because normally these people that blow the whistle.
He just bought a military base. He lives on a military base.
What?
Yeah, a whole compound.
He's turning it into a studio.
That,
He's turning it into a studio because.
He's doing movies, right?
Yeah, of course. But what's the guy in Atlanta? The one that's
Tyler
Perry.
So he opened that studio in Atlanta, but that's all funded by them, and it's all no good.
Yeah. I also heard that Matthew McConaughey and somebody else are doing a studio for movies that are more real.
Is it the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, from Cheers.
From Cheers?
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
Woody
like
Harrelson?
brothers.
Yeah.
They think they're actually fucking cousins because their dads and stuff hung out at the same time. But Woody Harrelson.
Like
so they're best friends.
There goes Cats.
I think you're right.
Woody Harrelson. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's a studio.
Woody Harrelson has ties here to fucking Houston. He lived there. His dad was a fucking serial killer.
In Alabama?
His dad was a hitman for the mob.
Woody Harrelson. We need to reach out.
He lived right here in Southwest Houston.
Really?
Where the Beltway is, yeah.
No, but that's what he talked about on that podcast, that he wants to get regular people to make movies that are just that are just talented
Well, you won't be
and
sucked
not
into
make
that
them.
world.
Yeah, you don't have to suck dick for it.
Yeah.
Or take it in the booty.
No,
Yeah, Jesus.
Go cat.
Someone's out there saying, "Oh,
for sure, bro."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's like, dude, it happens, and then they prey on the young too, you know.
Because I like to know who the new Jeffrey Epstein is now. Since Diddy's locked up, there's another one out there.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Pulling the
yeah.
strings for that
Oh
shit,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, who's the next one's gonna pop up? Because somebody had to take over those reins because that shit didn't stop.
or how
Five
many
niggas still going,
Epsteins?
yes.
Yeah, at the same time.
Or
you know?
is he really dead? Because I don't think he's dead.
The Iranian dude said that he's got proof that he's alive.
Oh yeah, there was like an official.
So so this is my theory on him. He was fucking straight CIA, but he got too big for his britches. We had him go out there and make these dirt tapes on everybody, but then he got too big for his britches and started doing it himself. But he was a CIA op. That's why we can't find out where the money came from. There's no real shit on him, you know.
Yeah.
And then of course his girlfriend, we have her in custody right now. Her fucking dad was
CIA or something,
no,
right?
No,
he was
he was
British.
Mossad.
Oh, Mossad. Yeah, I knew he was something.
So
Which is
that's what-
Israeli
in my
CIA.
if you
Yeah.
look at it from the outside, look, Epstein did shit for fucking decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
His own island, but never fucked with really. Just a little shit. He got caught here and there in Florida, but even that shit, you know, he got off
Went away, yeah.
because he was CIA.
He was like the orchestrator or whatever, right? He just
and
organized.
then what happened? He got dirt
on
on somebody in the CIA. What happened? And so he got too big for his britches. They had to take him out. So they had to kill him off so he wouldn't talk. But I don't think they killed him either. You know?
So I mean, these people are so high ranked, dude, and it's like I guess at some point they either fake their death and they go into hiding, protective, you know,
Because he was
I
too
mean,
public. Too,
yeah.
It was almost all the news everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
But then they using Diddy as the now you're gonna take the hit.
The distraction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But also like the dump, they're dumping everything on him.
Oh yeah.
But it's
well,
all-
he was another one too
even-
that got too big for his
Right,
britches.
but all that is being manipulated, you know, because supposedly he's got stuff on some higher names like Oprah,
Huge. Oh, yeah.
Tyler Perry
Mhm.
too, you know.
Well,
but
Clive Davis.
is he
That's
gonna
what
really
started it.
testify or not? You know, like what's really happening?
Or they just also he'll die in prison, but he's gone too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think Diddy's gonna be more like a distraction of like,
Yes.
oh, look at all the fucking sex that they were doing, but nothing's gonna come of it because that's not illegal.
Yeah.
If everybody was down, even though it was fucking nasty and depraved and pissing in each other's mouth.
Yeah.
If everybody was cool with it,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it.
That's how I feel about it too. Yeah, if y'all are grown adults, like if anything 17 and younger, go to jail,
Right.
whatever.
For
But like,
sure.
man, 22-year-old girl, I was manipulated. Like, nah, like you're an
You were
adult.
down
like,
for that
you
shit.
might have been manipulated
The
to a
Cassidy,
degree, but
yeah.
you have the option. You still have free will to say yes or no. But you was looking at that bread. You thought you was manipulated. Oh, all I gotta do is
Right.
one
That's the
time,
thing.
you know, like
Yeah, and that's a weak mentality.
And
bro.
now you 40-something years old, and you're like, damn, my life is coming to an end, and I'm seeing the decisions I've made, and I want to blame somebody else instead of realizing that I'm an awful person and I can be doing better and I should have done better.
Well,
and now they want to blame Diddy.
I think accountability is very powerful. And
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's being also, it's a movement to get that away. Because I mean, you see it from the lower levels to the higher levels. Nobody wants to hold themselves accountable.
Oh, bro, yeah.
And I mean, we see it with like warmongers and shit like that. you
Yeah.
know? So accountability, man, like that goes a long way because it changes you. For one, it improves you. It makes you a better person.
Yeah.
It's hard and it sucks, but it's a powerful movement as an individual. So they want that to be. That's why now all these people have these voices. All the radicals that are like screaming and crying, and they think, oh, now I can act like this. Now
Yeah.
But Diddy did
nobody
way
can
more
tell
than
me
sex
nothing.
shit though. He had murders, he fucking extortions.
Yeah,
Like, he was a
But that's what
fucking
I
piece of
mean.
shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then to be
Power
honest with
hungry.
you, with the girl Cassie, this one testifies that one's pregnant around her, right? So she's pregnant and they're testifying. I think she found a better life. She fucked up in the past, okay? So now she's moved on to getting a better life. And they approach her. Of course, he's on trial. She's the only fucking person they can have to testify against it. I don't really necessarily agree that, at the time, yeah. But even at the time, I'm not a female, you're not a female, okay? And so at the time of my 20s, I'm partying with somebody, but you get locked in with somebody, all of a sudden you're a victim, but you don't even realize it. So you just fall on that person the whole time. You're scared that person to beat you or he'll leave you for the money, all this stuff. But when you got a 22, 23-year-old mind, I mean, you've developed an
Agreed.
way, and
Yeah.
you're influenced by all
Yeah,
this, Diddy
agreed.
shit, But he did some gangster fucking shit, man.
Yeah, he did.
He did like
Yeah.
some mafia shit, And so, but the funny thing is they're so focused on the sex, like you said, not about the fucking murders, not about his baby mama getting killed and how people fucking got drugged. Jamie Foxx, that's another fucking huge one that he drugged and tried to kill. Like, where's all that?
Yeah.
What happened with that? Because I thought he was going to testify.
That's what I mean. Like that's why it's based on the
sex.
sex.
You're right. You are so right.
And the party is not so much the actual illegal illicit
This
activity.
is demonic worship.
The guns and everything.
Yeah.
Because look, to me, dude, I've always thought sex is sacred. Mm-hmm. Like I love sex. Sex feels good, but it feels way better when it's meaningful. Yeah, when it's with someone like you vibe with, even if it's casual sex, right? As long as consenting, you know. So why would you not use it to worship? If it's that sacred, because God says you connect when two come together, you know, you're with me. It's in the same concept. But why would it not be the opposite when you're fucking having orgies and with animals and with children and shit like that? People do that, bro.
Yeah.
Well, there's demons for that.
Yeah.
Sex demons and all that shit.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's crazy, man.
Comment.
Comment sex.
Okay. Sex
Orgy.
Give us your horror story.
If you want to hang out.
I think Athena's a sex god. Athena. I think that's who that is. No.
Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Aphrodite.
There is definitely
Athena's war, I think.
There's a couple of them. There's like a succubus. You know, there's
succubus.
There's like male and female versions of them.
Yeah.
But too, the big one with the goat head, that's one of the biggest ones. The transgender
Baphomet.
Yeah.
So
and that too, transgenderism. Was it transgenderism?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big attack on humanity, bro. Because we stopped reproducing. You know, and that's why male and female exist.
Yes.
But you know, I'll even put it back on, you know, the accountability. Like Christians as you know, gatekeepers in a sense to the faith and to what's right. We know what's right. Like, you know, we've had this ancient text for years, and we have become very like lenient, accepting, and open, and to where we're not checking people no more. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've said it before. It's like, we're not fighting. Like, you know, like there is a time for war, a time for peace, you know, a time for love. Like, you know, so there's, you know, I think an appropriate manner that we could go about this, but we don't, because we, you know, we are or we've been told that we should be an accepting, open religion, but there's not a mention of that in the Bible nowhere. My mom recently, like a year ago, she left her church because of the gay shit. You know, like she's in a Methodist church, which is very close to Catholicism. It's like the hybrid of Catholicism and Christianity. And she had to leave because they voted in having gay marriage, you know, and they had to win the vote by 80%. You know, not 51 to 49, but, you know, by 80%.
Yeah,
it's like, that's not a fair vote. So that's not democratic.
People fucking wanted it.
Yeah. Well,
so you had to have
the
20%.
no had to be 80%. Instead of just 70 or 51 is a true democratic vote.
So it was damn.
Yeah, this is
only
the
a third.
Methodist
Only a third had to say yes.
Yeah. So this is the Methodist Church in the United States, is ran by the Methodist group, whatever union that they are a part of, diocese or whatever, right? So they announced that from Nebraska, wherever they're located and headquartered at. Hey, this is what's going to happen in Texas, in New Mexico, in California. You know, like this is what's happening across our McDonald's chain of religion,
right.
You know, and that's why I've really leaned into more like non-denominational and stuff like that, because like we're just reading the word, like you know, and we're trying to interpret that the best way we can.
We're the church, bro.
Yeah,
this is the church nowadays.
Because Christ came to defeat religion, and you see how all of this stuff is like seeping its way in through our religion, like you know, and like that's not the way it was supposed to happen. We're supposed to just follow Christ, like not you, like, you know, not the Methodist leader in Nebraska or wherever he's at, Missouri, wherever he's at. So,
but also like, look at most religious people. Mm-hmm. They're self-righteous.
Those are the most hurt people in the world.
But they're also the more like reflective. You know, they like judge the most. They condemn the most.
Yeah, correct.
But also I wanted to go back on the point you were covering, like correcting. That's part of our
aggressively.
Well, when necessary.
Well, when necessary, but you see how we've just let it go so long.
Right. That's the thing. Accountability.
Now it's to the point to where it needs to be aggressive, because that was aggressive. That SNL skit was very aggressive, and we're just not coming out. We're not saying anything. Our leaders, who at least are leading the, you know, we say leaders, you know. And, you know, I go to Joel Osteen's church and stuff like that, and I feel like he has been a little bit more, you know, he's still a commercial preacher, and I feel like there's a need for the Joel Osteens, a very basic message to lead you in, and then you go to Bible study and you learn, you know, further more on that. But I even feel like his messages, you know, the past 4 weeks, you know, have been more, looking at what's going on in the world, which normally, everyone's like, Joel Osteen's very salt and pepper. But, I think that even him has been seeing it because you just see kind of the way his message has been tailored a little bit, man. But yeah, it's like we're just not, we're not checking it at the point,
That's my crossroads with the whole show, is because being the background that I have of having over 5,000 hours of therapy sessions with people of all walks of life, from, Hispanic to white to black to gay to straight to trans. I have a lot of trans clients too. And when it comes down to it, I struggle with, obviously I don't agree with your lifestyle, but I know these people.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's something dark about them. I just do feel whether it's confusion or hurt or pain or some historical event that happened in their life that flipped the switch.
Yeah.
And I'm not Jesus, right? None of us are.
Correct.
Nor am I God, nor am I able to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. So, because they could turn around and say the same thing about things that I do in my own life. So that's my whole thing is like, I had a real good Christian friend ask me, he's like, how do you struggle, or do you struggle with still being able to smoke, knowing it's a sin? Knowing we shouldn't be doing these types of acts, trying to be closer to God. And my whole argument or point is just like, man, like I didn't get to choose when this life of mine was set in this world.
Correct.
And in my life and in my situation, I've been through so many hardships. I've seen so many ugly things. This is the world, the fabric that's in this timeline. Like if I use smoking weed every once in a while to kind of just release and decompress, I just ask for forgiveness because I'm not doing it intentionally to say, fuck you,
Yeah.
And it's the
that's
same.
when it's a sin.
Right.
When you know that, when you do it to offend God, that's when it's a sin.
I think it's more like, yours is a coping mechanism versus a lifestyle choice. Like, like we just had Pride Month pass and, talking about the whole downtown, like, you just see all these people congregating to celebrate their sin or whatever. And it's just like, I smoke weed also. I don't do 420 fests, but, I just think it's more of like, a coping mechanism versus a lifestyle choice. Also, you do see, they say, oh yeah, the wine wasn't as, potent back then, but, wine was drunk and talked about being drunk in the Bible as well, which is also a mind alternate.
Right.
It tells you
multiple wives.
Yeah,
you
right.
Tried.
Multiple wives and stuff, so like, I think that there is like a room for mistake, like, but it's, I guess, to the point where you make it like a lifestyle, that's like, okay, this is different.
Because there's excess too, right? And then there's moderation.
Yeah.
Or just, needing that little bit. And then obviously like with the gay pride stuff, like, okay, if you're gay and that's your lifestyle, but you keep it to your household, nobody's gonna fuck with you. But now you have a parade, and now you're walking around damn near naked.
Yeah, recruiting.
Yeah, with kids around.
That's the thing. The children,
there you
bro.
go.
Yeah.
So something I've learned sitting here talking with y'all right now. So my religion experience is so different from y'all's. I was raised Buddhist my whole life. So 15 years ago is when I discovered God. I saw something I witnessed. A friend of mine died in my hands, and they worked on him for like an hour, and he was fire department. He's not going to make it. And I literally saw something happen. He kicked his foot. I saw something go into him, and they saved him, and he's alive to this day.
What?
Yeah. So the church really was thanking me at my restaurant coming in. And so I went to the church and I felt something when I was there.
So let me just cut you up. You saw his spirit come back into him?
Yes. So I go to the church, second day I'm there. I can give my life to God. I love the vibe, everything going on. So I want to give my life to God. Then I got into God. I became the youth pastor. I started studying. So I read Old Testament, New Testament. I read Quran. I read them out because I dove into religion. I was like, I didn't know. I wasn't raised culturally this way. Then I had a lot of questions. And this is when I found out that when you're raised in a region like here in America, based on God and everything, if you're raised in India, you're based on Hindu, or Vietnam, it's Buddhism over there, you're more biased to your religion. So whenever I got into Bible studies, I had a lot of questions.
Right.
And I just like, this God he's a hypocrite. Look at the walls of Jericho he tore down. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of the shit he did was like pretty fucking, but then yet he said not to do this. So I had a lot of questions. And every time I'd ask a question about things, I would get like, well, Keith, you're going too far with that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I want to know. I'm curious because this don't make no fucking sense to me. This don't make no fucking sense to me about Moses. This makes no sense to me. And when I started inquiring more and more about answers, I wouldn't get them. I would get like, oh, it's fine because that person's more biased to religion because they grew up in. But I had questions I wanted to know. And that's why I had to pull away. You know, I mean, I was doing great. Then what ruined me was when the church came at me for the business side of it. They wanted me to recruit more kids and all this stuff. I'm like, no, if they wanted to be with the youth, because they'll come. Don't worry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It became a business and I was out. You know, but I had a lot of questions that weren't even answered. You know what I'm saying? And so in my mind, I kind of evolved from that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel now that, you know, of course, the Bible, yes, all that religion, it was there, but I feel the aliens were involved in all this back then. And it's all, some of the stuff in the Bible only witnesses the stuff the aliens are talking about now, you know? But like what I've noticed though is that people that were raised in this region, all you know is God in the Bible, whatever term, whatever vow, you're more biased toward, you don't have an open mind to it. So whenever I discuss these things with people, they get very irritated and agitated. I just have questions. I want them to answer and they can't answer them sometimes just because that's what I was told.
So like aliens are mentioned, you know, so the book of Enoch goes over the alien situation, the place where they find all these Dead Sea Scrolls, you know, because Emperor Constantine came in the game, you know, after Christ had passed away and everything, after that had happened, the resurrection. He comes in and then they have the Council of Nicaea. So that's whenever they start indoctrinating and being able to put in, you know, going back to our tolerance, they start bringing in people from other religions, atheism and all these other type of religions in order to Easter. There's a reason why Easter, they say Easter is a pagan holiday. Why do we celebrate it? Christmas is on a pagan holiday date. Why do we celebrate it on that date? Even though Christ was probably born more, they say like, you know, May, summertime-ish, you know. So it just made it more palatable, which then, you know, it hampers our word because of things like this in the past. The alien thing was, because an alien, we call people who are in this country illegal aliens, because alien is only something that is not of the region that you're from, like, you know, or of the area that you're from. So the alien thing, I think, is kind of discussed and gone over because we go to ancient technologies that all these aliens taught us.
The 12 angels that fell.
Right. And so like there, you know, whenever there was the whole fallout and the demons were cast down, the demons, fallen angels, were cast down to earth, they were locked inside of the firmament, never to leave. And these are eternal beings, so they're here. That's why they have names, you know, the Baphomets and all these other things that have names. So what ends up happening, though, is it's all kind of like integrated inside of the religion. So in the book of Enoch, it goes, they taught men how to wield weapons. Yeah. So this is when mirrors were first given to men and women. Makeup was first divulged into women, like, hey, this is how you make yourself more beautiful. This is why you have things like the Goliath and his brothers. It's a specific name called the Nephilim, you know, the Nephilim. So these are hybrid between demon and human. And so I think that kind of explains the whole alien thing when you kind of get into it and you start reading, like you said, these other ancient texts and stuff like that. I think they kind of do correlate. It's sad because, again, I don't think that people get into the pastoral role out of a genuine, I want to teach. They want to make money. People have this intrinsic, I want to be a leader. That's just a part of human greed. It's like, I want people to follow me. I want people to listen to my voice. You know?
What am I? Perfect
Pride.
Question. What happened to the Romans?
The Romans in
Romans, what happened to
like
them?
As far as like how they left, wasn't it just because you know, the society just kind of crumbled?
Corruption.
They started having
they became the Catholics.
orgies and, you know,
Crusaders.
Yeah.
Crusaders.
So you know about your Crusaders? See, they don't talk about.
Well, Crusaders again is not Christianity. Crusaders are Catholics.
Yeah.
So all of that was from the Catholic religion, which is why we came to America, because remember, we founded America based upon freedom of religion. We weren't allowed to even read our ancient text, the Bible, because it was the priest's job to inform the public, hey, this is what the Bible says. This is how you should interpret it, rather than man being able to interpret it.
And then the crazy thing is, look how long Buddhism's been around.
Buddhism is it's not even a religion though. Buddhism is a lifestyle, right?
Exactly,
you know?
but 2,000 years before Christianity.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and you realize
and
that
it has the similarities, right?
So looking from the outside in, Jesus, they portray him with these Buddhism type ways. Like, we base ourselves off of, do unto others as they want done to you
Yeah,
type stuff. Be good to people out there. Man, it's so funny because, like I said, my biggest problem with it was the Crusaders.
Yeah,
they literally went out there and they killed people, man, to make them force religion in Japan, in China, India. They killed.
Genghis Khan was
But
the same.
that was after a lot of violence was being done to Catholics. They finally had enough, and they finally said, "We gotta raise an army."
But did they ever? That's why they,
they
conquered the world.
I'm not condoning it.
No,
right?
But
that's the historical. That's the historical imbalance.
But my problem
always.
my problem was in all my times of Bible, it never was discussed to me.
Yeah, they don't.
Outside, and I'm like, I'm asking these questions. Like a huge one is the fucking floods, rainbows. When I found out that rainbows were, God telling us that He'll never make that mistake again of taking man away. Yeah, because you have flaws too, but you want us to live a perfect life. But you were a God that had flaws. And you were a jealous God too. You got mad about other religions. If I worship another religion, you're fucking out. To me, it's just me personally how I grew up. So I wasn't biased. So I call myself an evolved Christian. So I just adapt to what I need everyday life. Well, I don't, what my experiences. You know what I'm saying? So I just have a lot of problems with it that's not talked about. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I was getting into a lot with my with one of my chicks, man. She's a very devout Christian in the sense of like, I go to church every Sunday. I've read the Bible. My mom says to pray like this, right? And so, I listen to it and I really like astrology. I love Buddhism, right? Go to the temple, visit the temple and even they talk about the lost years of Christ from 12 years to 30 years old. He went out to those temples. They have his name. They have his name on those temples out in the East. So I think he did as a man, because Christ was man, still. So he still had to go through his trials and learn how to do these things. So it still correlates back. But one thing I told her, she's like, "Oh, you're messing around with astrology? Like that's demonic. It says so in the Bible." I said, "It doesn't say anything about astrology in the Bible. It says fortune tellers." So then I tell her, because I'm over there in the East, man, and I'm like, they believe in astrology out here, and I even go to an astrologist out here. How does this correlate? Because it's true. Astrology is true. And so you look at it, Christ was found by three wise men who did not believe in Jesus Christ, because there was no Jesus Christ. There was and they come from the East because they're the wise men. And so they saw something in the stars that said, the Savior of the world has been born, based off of what the stars said, not off of what the scripture says, because they're not Jews, because at the time it's not Christianity, it's Judaism, right? So not no Judaism stuff that they were reading. It was based on something in their own religion that said the universe, which in the book of Genesis, it says that God put the sun, stars, and moon into motion. So it's still, I think it all reconnects back to each other. We are created in His image. I don't think jealousy is a bad thing. I don't think anger is a bad thing. I'm even saying in this moment now, we need to be more aggressive with these, things. There is a time for war. They say David was a man after God's own heart. David did a lot of messed up stuff. David was a warrior though.
Bro, Jesus got aggressive.
But yeah, like, you see how like other religions, they do correlate back to Christianity. However, Christianity does not correlate to nobody. Like Christianity doesn't mention any other religions. Every other religion will feed back into Christianity. The top three religions in the world, Judaism speaks of Jesus Christ. The Quran speaks of Jesus Christ only as a prophet. And then even Buddhism, like you said, the close correlations, which Buddhism again is not, like you said, it's not a religion, it's a lifestyle. And I think Buddhism is so great. Like all my Buddhist friends, you don't even know that another person's Buddhist because it's so aligned with Christianity as far as morals and stuff, right? So I think it all does, correlate back to each other. But again, blaming my religion, we're not good at being able to connect these things because they just want to read the Bible and just things to do with our current religion, mainly based upon European standards, rather than going around saying like, hey, how can I convert, the Muslim? How can I relate this to the Jew? And you're not seeing people kind of go about that method, and I think it is a closed-minded aspect on us, because I was raised, just like you said, closed-minded, Jesus Christ, because if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're getting a whooping. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not because you love him.
I think my biggest issue was more the education part, because as a Catholic, raised Catholic, it was more the mass. It was the I don't know what the process of the mass. Like that's what was emphasized was okay. The tradition, and not so much more understanding the word and reading the Bible.
Yeah.
And then, if you wanted to, you could go to Bible study. But to me, like, I was just like, I could care less.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was like, I gotta stand up, I gotta sit down, and it was just more of a duty as opposed to like wanting to learn or making it exciting. Like, look in this story of the Bible, in Old Testament, like this is what happened with, Abraham, like, and learning that story more. And instead it was in a quick psalm. And then, the priest goes on some rant.
Gives his description of it.
Right. So to me, like, that's where Christians and Catholics alike and all other sects, to me, are falling back, is because we weren't raised in that. Like Muslims, they understand the Torah.
Yeah.
I mean, not the Torah.
I read the Torah.
The Quran.
The Quran.
Yeah,
My bad.
I actually have one.
I've read both of them.
Yeah.
But on that, the rabbit hole I went down was First Testament. It was Judaism. Because that was before Catholicism. Fucking Moses was a G, right?
Moses was a G.
The law of Moses.
Then all of a sudden, you have Christianity come with Jesus. And they want to fucking get rid of the Jews too, but they have a new religion going on here. But then this is the original old school right here. This is the original word of God here.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you evolved. Where the fuck this come from? You know what I'm saying? And there's books written out there that it's all interpreted by man and what they want to put in there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And then all of a sudden, boom, Muslim. All three of these religions are all connected to the same God. That's what's the crazy part. But I love that about it. But same God, just different ways of
perspectives.
Yes.
But he said the Bible said that would happen though. Right?
So Judaism, the reason why Christians are in the conflict with Jews, which it still says to be a friend to the Jew, the reason why we are in conflict with them is because they aren't following their own text when it says and prophesies of a savior coming. So the religion has evolved, and it does. I wouldn't even say evolved. It's following the timeline that even the Jew talked about, like, that there would be Christ. It doesn't say specifically a Jesus Christ, but it would be a savior of humanity to come along. And the Jew is still waiting for the savior of the world to come.
And look at right now, though. Like right now, we're sitting there talking about this. The Muslims are more strict than they're.
Yeah.
The Jews are really
very devout.
They're very devout also.
Yeah.
And then Christianity, we're kind of all over the fucking place.
And I think going back to what he says, they're just trying to chase a religion, like you said, recruit. Oh, let's throw a pizza party. That's how we're going to get kids to come. It's like, no, we're talking about the savior of the world.
But if we feel, or if I feel Christianity is the way, wouldn't the devil want to bastardize that the most?
This has been.
He doesn't need to mess with Muslims. He doesn't need to mess with Jews.
Right.
They're already fallen,
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And that's my whole angle, whether I know the Bible backwards and forwards or not, at least with my logic being born in this time period, I see that clear as day. We see that on SNL. We see that in music videos.
Yeah.
And the bastardizing of Jesus is like, when you can't say Christ is king, but you can say Allah Akbar, or whatever,
yeah.
Oh,
no,
right.
If you ridicule them,
I'm finna throw a curveball.
Okay.
So let's go back before all this. Let's go back to the Romans, the gods, the Egyptians, and their gods. So that's a whole nother thing that they believe in these different
Greek
gods.
mythology.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother fucking part of this puzzle that.
But those could be those fallen angels, those aliens.
Yeah, because with the time, because we'll even say on a more esoteric, on a more spiritual aspect, we'd be like, time isn't nothing. Like, time is just a matter of our, thoughts. So all of this stuff is happening, has happened, and will happen all in the same sentence, right? And there is a method to how things occur, like growth and everything else. There's a process to everything. So with the fallen angels coming to earth, like you were saying, that is something that they had just put in place. We're going to throw this, like you said, we're going to throw this curveball in here in order to say this has already occurred. However, even the shape and the form that they were in was not man. Christ was the only one who was man and was able to show man how to live. Ra and, Thoth and all those guys, cool guys in their own right. And I think that every culture, they need to have some sort of tie-in, like a religion aspect,
And put in astrology.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I'm saying?
I was going to say something about astrology. In Revelations, there's a part that says the woman that steps on the serpent's head, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be Mary, but that's in the stars, bro. Like, that's a constellation, was it?
Mm-hmm. Constellation.
So, you know, like,
well, it says, look to the sky towards the end of times because the end draweth nigh. The red moon, the blood moon is mentioned.
I'm going to piss some people off. I'm going to give you my theory.
Give it to us, man.
This is a whole different... From my studies and what I've gone through in my life, I feel that religion was put out there for people who are weak-minded. And the way I say this is, okay, imagine this. You're in Egypt. You're a slave. And all you wake up every fucking morning is building that fucking temple.
Right.
Well, why do I want to fucking live? You're going to beat me every fucking day.
You need hope.
So we had to get exactly.
Right.
That's the key word, hope. So we didn't have therapists back then. Right. So we created a God. Your Ra will come and kill you. You better get this going on. So they use fear. Okay, back to Roman gods, fear. Okay,
right.
Because these people, you had to motivate them. They had to have some kind of hope. Because just imagine if you were a slave, you woke up in a dirt pit and you had to work every fucking. Why would you want to live? Why would you want to go forward? Yeah, some kind of belief or faith.
But that's the inverse of that is faith.
Right.
Yeah, and
so if
you are the slave. Why fucking live? Why not just kill yourself?
Exactly. So
but because having faith in something greater than you, that's why the whole duality of oh yeah, well they're just saying that they're just snake oil salesmen just to make you pay a tithe or whatever. Well, that can be true, but if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in something greater than yourself, then you become depraved. Then you just want to fuck your fucking sister or
think of Neanderthal.
Children.
So
right.
Your mother.
So when Neanderthal man, the caveman, to say when he's roaming the earth, there was no fucking religion. Then it was just like fucking scrap, eat, I'm alive.
I mean, we say that, but even then, we're even finding out how advanced these other ancient places were. But like, if and that's if you believe in the caveman and stuff.
Right.
And then you
gets weird.
Yeah, because you even see, at least according to and I say our religion again, going back to it. Christ did come here to destroy religion. Because it is just a lifestyle. There are no go to church on Sunday rules. There are no, I feel like Christianity is an entrepreneur's religion because it does talk about how to save money.
But also, we don't know when fucking Sunday is.
Well,
they changed.
We don't know the Sabbath day.
Right.
The Sabbath day.
Right.
So you see all this what we're discussing right now? In my mind, I think that the most religious people, the ones like, oh God, have fear, those are the ones that are most fucking sinners. The ones that just use it every day and like because they're doing wrong, they're using it the wrong way.
Yeah. And that's scary, bro.
And a lot of people, I'm a very strong-minded person. So I use all these religions in my everyday encounters. With that road rage incident yesterday, I'm not gonna I don't feel like shooting somebody today, so I'm just gonna go on about my business. It's about your decisions you make and whatnot. It drives me. It drives me my children. That's really my real. Put food in, give them a good life. Put food on the table for them, put a roof over their head. That's my drive now. When I was 18, now my drive was Tony Montana. I want to be the fucking biggest drug king out there with a tiger.
Yeah.
You change, you evolve in life. And so that's what happens, I think, with religion. Religion has evolved and slowly is evolving more and more. Now, right now, it's evolving to a weird place right now with the explosion of hell and all this demonic shit out there. It's fucking nuts.
So even to mention that scripturally, it says that my word will never change. It talks about how in scripture, it says something about it's a huge sin to add or take away from the Bible. And that's to say that because it says God is the same today, tomorrow, and forevermore. But the thing is that our God has never evolved. It's been man that's evolved.
Correct.
We have evolved, and we're the ones who have tried to make God into, I like him like this, and with some hair like that.
Him?
Man.
But who evolved man? On
government,
earth.
Religion. Government. Yeah,
the devil.
Government, because but who offered Christ, who is the leader of the world, who offered Christ all of the kingdoms of the world when he was fasting?
Exactly. That's my whole point.
But like in Buddhism, we don't have a devil.
Yeah,
we want to.
But y'all do have a hell, though.
We want to be reincarnated and go on. You know what I'm saying? And reincarnation doesn't mean like all of a sudden in your body.
Yeah.
It just means your spirit kind of lives on type thing. It's not gonna be like, oh, I'm fucking Buddha today. No. It's a way of us to cope with death.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's why at our funerals, we were all white. Now I'm noticing now with American funerals, it used to be always a black dress jury. Now it's celebration of life. We've been doing that shit for fucking years before us, So that's why we're always there. So it's just like a coping mechanism also, is how I'm looking at it, because it's a mental thing. So religion to me is like, your psychiatrist. And that's what's helping you throughout your day because I don't know what the fuck happens when I die. But I know what happens every day when I live here. So I try to apply that to my everyday living.
For sure.
And then whatever motivates me to my children. Like I said, I could have gotten a fucking shootout yesterday. I could have killed 4 dudes yesterday. And I realized that's somebody's dad, somebody's brother just making a bad fucking mistake. And I'm very strong-minded. I didn't let my emotions control me. But not a lot of people are like me. So they need religion out there. So I'm all for it. It's just perfect example. I can take the Bible, read one scripture, and how I determine that or how I think this way, you might determine a different way. You know what I'm saying? It's how you want to read the Bible. That's when I learned reading the Bible. I was so confused first time reading the Bible. What the fuck?
It's
I read
a hard
it from
read.
back.
It's not an easy
That's where
read.
I fucked up. I went front to back, and I was like, no, you got to read script. And once I started bouncing, okay, but it's what I take. That's what I take in from that. How I apply it to my life. I could read one little fucking thing, and all of a sudden you read the same thing, and you're out doing murders. I'm over here fucking making money. It's just how you interpret it in everyday life. And that's what people need. I think they need to understand.
And that's what we're at today. That's where we're at today with politics.
Yeah.
Something that's surface level, bro. Politics don't fucking matter in our life, in our existence at all. But look how much we're blowing it up.
You're so right. It does not affect our everyday.
It really doesn't. But it's a way to keep us divided, anger, static.
I disagree. I think politics is a necessary evil in a society as large as ours to have peace. Because if we're going to live in a country where there's freedom of religion, you can do what you want, say what you want, free speech. No, I mean, not today. I'm just talking in general. There has to be some type of
like standard
religion in politics, which is that religion.
But look here, we're not a monarchy. London, England, they're a monarchy. Even though the kings kind of stays, they still have their government, but it's a different beast over there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Even though the queen's there and everything, the king, they really ain't got shit to do with it because they have the parliament and everything. But we're totally different from that. So that's
what I mean. But in a large society of a diverse people of a grand populace of 330 million people, you have to have some type of government that
leaders and whatnot.
That everybody agrees to. This base set of rules we all have to abide by. And in this country, it's the power is supposed to be to us, right? So there is a necessary politics to say, hey, you think different than me, but how do we come to a middle ground? And that's what politics is supposed to be. Right. But just like everything, just like religion, just like OKC versus the Pacers, there's these sects that come of it that are like, no, we're the extremists. We have the loudest voice. Now I'm gonna hijack your voice, and I'm gonna hijack your voice, and then this is where the demons come in. This is where the Satan aspect always comes into these scenarios where the docile, the peaceful, we're just like, well, fuck, dude, I'm not all about that. But we rather just coexist. But these entities, these people are saying, no, all right, we'll take care of it.
So it's tactical.
But it's tactical by
Just
darkness.
To divide us.
But it's tactical by darkness. And there's useful idiots everywhere. I don't think there's some grand meeting that they all have like, all right, guys, this is the chess moves that we're going to do.
It's the collective evil.
It's the collective evil.
They have their agenda. They know what to do.
Right. And they know there's going to be people that believe in what they're saying. So all they need to do is say this saying, and they're going to fall in line. Like the SNL cast. I don't think that they're all devil worshipers, but they all love what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so
they'll go they have no problem doing it.
And they have no problem doing it. Right.
To a great extent to keep it. And to
so by them doing that, they've casted that out to everyone. And I think that happens on every level, whether it's business, politics, religion,
families,
especially in the last 10 years.
Families,
10 years of politics is fucking nuts, right? And wrong.
And it's up to us here, people, ground level, to say, hey, like it's okay to think your ways, but like don't get so extremist that you're gonna go jihad somebody. Don't get so extremist that you're gonna say, oh, you're going to hell. Don't get so extremist.
The end game is always violence, and destruction.
Right.
And that comes from the devil. That comes from,
One of my great friends, Beth, she's, very opposite of me, but she has a transgender daughter, grown. And she's like, why do you hate transgender people? Fucking don't hate them.
Yeah.
She's like, Micah hates them. I said, we don't hate them. I said, no. I said, this is what you don't understand. You live your life, do what you fucking do. Don't put it in our children. That's all we ask you. Don't make your lifestyle on us. Don't push it on us. When I'm in the store, don't push it on my child.
Yeah.
That's all we ask.
Don't
and
publicize.
that's what you're doing right now. And I said, that's what I said, you don't understand what the fight is for.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so lost, and I get it, your daughter, and she's 24 years old, so she's grown. So I don't care about that. I just don't want her ever to push it on my children in the schools and what they've been doing lately. She's like, oh, and it kind of.
And it's no different than them not wanting Christianity pushed on you everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, just
okay, like freedom of religion and freedom of sexual orientation, but just keep it at home, keep it in your private life.
Yeah.
And
keep it rated. M for mature. Like, you know.
Well, no, I mean, in public, rated PG.
Like, whoa. And also, in this world,
that's the thing.
In this world, there's way 80% more followers than there are leaders.
Yes.
You know and so most people just want to get in line like cow.
Those are the weak-minded that you spoke about.
Yes. And it sucks. And those are the people who fucking need religion, I think.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But need to interpret it the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we all do need to we're all here on earth. We're all man.
We need a North Star. We need some.
Yes. North Star.
Not everyone hears the golden rule and understands the golden rule.
Yes.
And that's the golden rule for a reason, right? Because everything will work well if you just treat someone the way you want to be treated.
But that's why we're people who are a little bit more, I guess, in tune with that
higher power.
We're responsible to lead others. We're supposed to shepherd them, you know. But instead, we have these government officials or these people in power that choose these platforms to mislead them, to misguide them, to confuse the fuck out of us. And then now we're roaming the world like that because we don't know who to go. And then we're wide open to the evil. We're wide open to the darkness instead of focusing on the good, on the light, or unity, which is what we're supposed to do. You know?
I'm going to tell you that all goes back to you, home raising.
Exactly. And accountability. Because how do you raise a good kid? By holding them accountable for their fuck up, for their mistakes. Like, no, you realize this is what you want to do, but this is what you need to do in this moment. And if you don't do it, there's a consequence. Now you're punished, now you're grounded, no pad, no whatever it takes just to discipline. That's a strong parent. It's so important, dude. And it gets lost like that.
But that's why every problem I always try to dissect, I always take it to at what point did we go off course? And that's just being simplistic.
At home.
Right. And it starts at home. Yeah. And in any scenario, if it goes back to religion, at what point did we veer? Like, why do we disagree totally with the Nation of Islam? Like, or, you know, and there's ways to kind of, you know, not really like bring peace, because sometimes if you disagree, you disagree. And you just have to like, all right, cool. Like, I guess we're just not going to come to common ground.
A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
But that is a beautiful thing about living in Houston. I know Buddhists. I know Muslims. I know, what is it? Atheists. And we agree on most. You know, and it's like, that's why to me it was so confusing. Racism, hate of religion, or like hate of color of your skin, or hate of what part of the world you come. I grew up around all parts of the world, you know, and it was beautiful. So it's like, why can't we coexist, have our differences? Like at food, at home, you might like your rice, you know, dirty rice. We like our rice orange. Okay, we're still fucking home. We're still brothers.
Rice.
And white rice.
And white rice. White rice.
Hold on.
But I mean, the simplicity of that, like, that's beautiful. Yeah. You know, just how, like, I like you because how much different you are from me. Like, you know, I learned your culture. Like, that taught me a way of seeing things. Like, because, like, dude, the Kundalini stuff, I like it. It resonates with me. It brings in my head. So it's like, it feels right. So I don't necessarily exercise it the way that it's meant to, but I practice it, or I bring a little piece with me. Because we're humans. We're brothers and sisters from 5,000 miles away. Whatever. Yeah. That shouldn't matter.
No problem.
But they weaponize that.
You know what that's called? Wisdom.
Wisdom.
And you only gain wisdom through aging and life experiences. You can't be taught wisdom. You learn it. You know, I mean, you know, and so that's what that comes from. And that's why your mentality is the perfect space where you're at your age. So now imagine you're 18 years old, how I thought 18. Totally different than now what we are as men. You know what I'm saying? I have children back then and everything, but that comes along with wisdom. So
that's a perfect way to segue into us. We were going to get into the war today, but I don't think we're going to have enough time to cover the war. But wisdom, youth, ageism, experience, all that. We got a little breakdown of the Unk The
OG.
YG.
The OG.
He's just crazy. That
No,
crazy dude?
like now there's this like now you're in a category.
Yeah, that's what y'all was talking about earlier.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
your YNs.
So
You got
it's
your
funny
big
you said
bros.
that. So this is the YNs, the big bros, OGs. That's the hood version, but the real version is Gen X, Gen Z.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Millennials, same things, but we just have a different interpretation of it.
Mhm.
You know, in the hood
Yeah.
over here. But that's our way of breaking down like the different cultures. Is we do it through UNC, YN.
So let's watch this video and then we'll just kind of react to
cover it.
that.
Right?
And then we're gonna end with that for the show because it got deep and
We got down the rabbit hole. Yeah. What are you watching here?
Watch.
I'm started what? Little niggas is from 8 to 14. Okay. Them the little niggas. YNs. No. Little niggas.
Let them go, huh?
YNs is from 15 to 25.
Bet.
Those are YNs. 26 to 35.
Big bros.
34. That's big bro. 36 to 44.
Oh.
That's unk now.
Yeah.
45 to 55. That's OG now. That's OG. Now, when you start getting into the 60s and 70s, respect your elders, folks.
Elders. Hold on, man. I nailed that one. Damn. Hey.
So he broke it down.
Damn.
Yeah. So you big bro? I'm big bro.
Yeah.
I literally used the word elders earlier. I was like, the elders only. Damn. That's what's up. Okay.
So I mean, obviously, I have a bunch of nephews and nieces, so I'm on.
Yeah.
But I've heard it from other people, you know, like at the gym, you know, in community. It makes sense, bro.
Yeah, no, it does. But that's our own hood way of breaking down different generations.
Well, that's kind of it's a hierarchy of your wisdom over the years, and that's why I fuck with Unc too, because it's like I want to be on this show, like somebody turn into their Unc and say, "Hey, man, like let me see what they have to say," because I don't know, and let me seek some wisdom from some older cats.
Well, let's break it down. Let's do it. Let's compare it to the. So I'm an OG. So I'm a Gen X. So OGs are Gen X's. All right. So then YNs are what 15, 25. What is that? Millennials. What
Millennials?
Is that?
No. Gen Z.
Gen Z. All right.
Millennials are because it ranges because he's a millennial too, right?
Yeah.
I'm just line them up. This is line them up. Kind of like I really want to compare what would be what though. So if we start off as the young ones, 8 to 15. So let's go backwards from the OG. So I'm OG, I'm 50, and so that's going to be Gen X. And if you go down, that's going to be UNC. So that's younger than what's y'all's generation?
Yeah, I don't know what my generation. I'm 81.
Are you
I think
X
that's
or
millennials. That's the start of millennials.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Then after millennials is going to be Gen Y or no?
Look
it up. Pull
Let's
it
see
up.
if we can pull up a graph.
I'm curious to see. I'm really curious.
What's the scientific?
We're the start of the millennials, technically.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I don't identify as one, but apparently I am.
A lot of them don't because y'all didn't get respect because y'all were like back then y'all were like YNs. See, and then y'all evolved over that, you know.
So look, 1981 is the millennials. So 96.
81 to 96.
So I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And y'all big bros?
97 to
Y'all big bros or unks?
Big bros.
Big bros.
Okay.
I'm
You got more knowledge to it.
I'm on the unk.
Since you got more knowledge to you, then what goes on the YNs?
Gen A.
The YNs?
Generation Alpha.
Generation Beta.
No
That is what
shit.
they would call
Hey,
Beta.
that's the weakest one.
That's what we're
heads
heading
right there. The little ones.
But that's the ones that are going to be easy to program, easy to like.
But they're all we all evolve through our times. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I remember millennials. They're like, oh, they're fucking y'all YNs back in the day. But now you got more respect in the millennial name. You know what I'm saying? It really does because y'all are older, have matured now. But I remember all that fucking millennials. That was the YN back in like 15, 20 years ago. I remember because fucking millennials. You know, everybody was ashamed. But now, shit, you better take pride in that shit.
Yeah.
You fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're gonna flip that on.
What year are you born?
92.
So 96 was the end of the millennial age. So
that's my oldest son.
Yeah, but also, dude, like, you know, you see. It seems like we're going backwards, not with knowledgeable, like, and maturity levels.
What's showing me is the evolution of wisdom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At one time, I was a YN. At one time, you know what I'm saying? But as I now look at I'm an OG now, like, I could have gotten a shootout the other day, but not fuck that. I ain't got time for that.
But there's a change in the evolution because of technology.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because do you think those Gen A's could have your wisdom at 50 when they turn 55? Because because you had to fight back in the day, like you had to deal with stuff.
By the way, so somebody asked me today. I'm gonna throw this out there about my parenting. So I'm a damn good parent, and I raise my children right. And I got 4 children. They're 28, 27, 15, and 14. And they're asking me like, my wife actually. She's younger than me. She's only 33. And she's like, you're such a good dad to your kids. How'd you know how to do this? I said, you want to know how I learned how to raise my kids? Was the shows in the 80s. The shows back then, the Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, that's what taught me how to be a dad.
Yeah.
Because every show had a moral value to it. You did something wrong, you finish at the end. That compared to TV today, I was a latchkey kid. So that means so my parents went to work, I stayed at home, I raised myself, okay? They call us latchkey kids. And so what we did, we just watched shows all day long. Okay, and we had regular cartoons, Smurfs and shit. That wasn't too bad. But the shows that I watched back then, that's what taught me how to be a fucking dad.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Don't forget Carl Winslow.
Carl Winslow, Family Matters.
Even Banks. Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fucked up now, but
now that you know.
But that's what taught me the TV shows, the technology. So now. TV, we don't have TV shows anymore. We got fucking TikTok. You know what I'm saying? And we have a lot of this reality TV and stuff. It's not wholesome. It's hard to find like Three's Company. You know what I'm saying?
Now it's all about having fun and
or
laugh, ignore everything, but have a good
Modern Family. Desperate Housewives.
I like that. It's technology and the evolution of everything. So I can't answer the question if these Gen Betas, which what a weak name to have, a Gen Beta. I'm an alpha male.
Come on.
It's like a test, right? Like when something comes out, it's a beta version. It's like a test.
Thank you.
But you're right though, bro. You got because it's like, dude, we had landlines. We didn't have cable. Well, cable was a thing. But then we watched the evolution of cell phones and videos on phones and like video calls.
Well, perspective of reality. We went out on our bikes. We played basketball.
Yeah, we were outside.
We went on Nintendos. We went on. You know what I'm saying? And everything, like my middle son, my second son, all of his friends are online gamer friends. He's known them for 15 years, but they live in New Mexico and Arizona, and they're close. They see each other now. But that's his inner circle are people from internet, from gaming.
Miles away.
And they're close. It's kind of weird, but that's his friend. My friends, I grew up with them on the street. Here, just you. I mean, like, we stay in contact.
Roots,
Exactly. And the children now are different, you know what I'm saying? Or FaceTime or whatever. So, that was a great question, bro.
But I just see it too because the lessons that we learned, again, like even with the fighting and stuff, like it
fighting.
was, I didn't get into the most fights growing up, but I know that you learn from that. Like you learn your position, you learn where you rank at.
You get your ass kicked once in a while.
You learn humility.
Or even true fear.
True fear.
Not internet fear.
Yeah, not internet fear. Oh, they're going to post this video about me. Like, it's like, they're going to know I got whooped yesterday. I gotta get out there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Or I'm just gonna bring my dad's pistol, shoot everybody's.
Yes, bro. Because they've only seen that on TV. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody's fighting on TV.
It's full psychological today as opposed to back then. It was physical and psychological. And circumstantial. Like,
Like I'm embarrassed to say, my son, my 15, he don't know how to ride a bike. Because he's working right now. He's working the church down the street. And it's like, hey, just check one of the bikes. Like, Dad, I don't know how to ride a bike. Fuck! That was a fell on Dad. That's how it was.
Gotta take that trophy back.
That's just the real side of it. Holy shit! So he can drive. I never fucking taught him how to bike.
He didn't need to learn.
And he's part Asian. Oh, come on.
He got the grades, but but that's a perfect example of that, man. I was like,
but that is part of the struggle, I mean, it's like you still living life. You still learning and growing too.
Of course.
That's a dad. That's a man.
But it shows you that just our kids are internet kids. Like I was called a latchkey kid because we would just come in, open the door, make our own fucking food and watch TV. Now, internet kids. They just sit in their fucking room all day long and they watch TV and whatever's out there and they believe half of it. That's the scary part.
But now also too, like you could just watch what you want whenever you want. We used to have to wait for 3 o'clock
or 7 days for the next episode.
A week later.
We gotta get there. It starts at 7.
You might not catch.
I'm binge watching the show right now. So you're right. But, man, bro, so it's up to us or you all too with your children. You got to raise them right, man. You got to raise your children right and give them moral values and accountability is a big thing too of what you do. And a lot of parents, they're not parents. They're their friends. They're too young. You know what I'm saying?
I love what you said about the shows though, because like my father is older. So my father passed away like 5 years ago and he was like Man, 77-ish, like, you know, so he was an old school, born in like 1940 type shit. And so, man, this guy, we would watch, and he's not a great father in the sense of like, you know, teach you lessons. And I think that there comes to, you know, people know, okay, if I'm not good at this, watch this, do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to show you, but like, you know, this guy might. But we used to watch those Sanford and Sons, the Jeffersons and all that type of stuff. And it's like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? I get, like, you know what I'm saying? I get what to do. I understand it. And like you said, it is wholesome. And we just have none, even the movies, like none of that is that, you know, no more. So I love that you said that. And that's like a really good, I guess, like a clue, I guess, for the next generation. Hey, watch this. Like, this is how it used to be. Like, you know.
It was the culture back then, you know what I'm saying? Compared to culture. And now, you want to do surgery? Go on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fucking YouTube professor.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of great things off. Don't get me wrong. It's fucking awesome, you know?
Yeah.
But it sounds like to me that your father was older than you when you were born. So same thing with me. My father was 44 years old when I was born.
Yeah, I think mine was
There was a
about
major disconnect we had throughout my whole life. And the one thing he found out, it was kind of crazy. I was about 11 years old. We're watching MASH, TV show. Military. My dad's a military guy.
Yeah, same.
And so I was like, damn, look at that gun, Dad. My dad was, I didn't know at the time my dad was a sniper in Korea. So once he found out that I like guns, that was our thing. My father said, let me show you. He said, pulls a gun out. I'm like, what the fuck? He's doing guns. And then that was our bond. We had a fight. Music, we didn't connect with. TV, we didn't connect with nothing, dude.
Yeah,
it's
powerful.
And so my father, the man he was, found something and he keyed in on it. And that's how I got my bond with him.
Yeah,
I was very lucky to have that. But a lot of people don't, man. You know
it's a little effort, too.
It's a little effort,
Damn,
so you got to do that to
beautiful,
connect with your children. You know what I'm saying? 100%. But this tells me you kind of get the same growing up I had.
It's funny because my dad was in Vietnam, man. So we you know, I was interested in guns, and then he's like, okay, you know, you starting to learn the gun, like, hey, don't do that, Papa. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had an interest in them, but then even to this day, still have like and I still, you know, personal carry and everything, right? But I have a negative affiliation with it because like I used to always get hit when the guns were getting brought out. Like shit, I'm always doing something wrong.
There's rules. There's rules with the gun, and those are sacred rules that you cannot break.
All my children, I taught them young gunsmith and stuff. So one of my biggest tests when they're about 10 years old, I'll leave a gun on the table. I said, watch what they do. First thing they come in the seat, they're racking it, opening it up because they know how to do it. I taught them. But the first thing I want to do is that gun sitting there.
Yeah.
And all three sons, they open up, Dad, you left your gun out there. And they fucking, I was like, you passed.
Yeah.
That was just my test as a father about gun safety and whatnot. You know, that's my way I went about it. But they were taught their whole lives.
But to me, that's the smartest thing is, and people think like, oh, well, you need to lock it up. They don't need to see it until they're 18.
That's
like,
the curious comes out.
No, yeah.
The 13
We'd have them in the couch. We'd have them at the doorway. Like, you know, you just know not to touch it unless there's an issue.
There's got to be a healthy respect for that.
Yeah, we'd still be fighting inside the house and shit. Never reach for the gun.
Right. Like, and this is one huge reason why I love Texas. We're a gun sanctuary state. Yeah. We love our guns. Look, the way I look at it, this country was founded off of guns and God. This country right here we're in. If you don't respect it, get the fuck out.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
I respect it. You know what I'm saying? I've evolved a bit more religion, but I still respect it. And that's the main thing about it. And so when people don't know things, they want to get rid of it or get away from you. Get rid of the guns, get rid of the stuff. And
those are the weak people that have never dealt with true turmoil, violence. Yeah, and that's like we were talking about earlier with the you know, guys getting road rage and the little dude I had to deal with.
Or let your emotions take over and control you. That's the big thing you have to teach your children. Like, I see it so many times. You know, just you're in Walmart, the kid doesn't get what he wants, and he is flipping a bitch. Oh man, I mean, just you know, and then okay, give it to him.
Yeah,
you know?
just to shut him up.
One of my biggest stories with my children was my boys were like 6 and 9. We're in Walmart and they're fucking playing around the fucking rack, pissing me off. I grabbed that fucking belt up. I beat the shit out of those.
Thank God. God bless you.
I whooped the fucking white meat shit. I was pissed.
I love seeing a kid. I love seeing a kid get whooped. He's gonna be a good man. It's a beautiful thing.
First thing that happens, a woman comes over and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you fucking hit those children." And she's going off me. I said, "Look, bitch, my kids are gonna end up in fucking church. You're gonna end up in fucking prison. And that was just my way of doing it. But it took one time. I call that a tune-up. So you want a fucking tune-up?
Next time all you do next time all you do is just grab the belt.
The same thing happened to me. My mom whooped fuck out my ass. Oh man, that's all I don't want to hear. But that's, you know, not saying corporal punishments for everybody, but for me it worked well. And you don't have to do it all the fucking time. You do one good time and that's it.
Yeah, we are animals at the end of the day. You watch,
you know what I'm saying? You watch Cesar Millan. He teaches you how to treat those dogs. It's like a
it's dumb.
It's little.
Hey, that guy Cesar. I thought he was more like a no.
Yeah, I thought he was a
He teaches you alpha male mentality and how to lead your pack.
I respect that guy. I thought he was like some little, you know, no. Hell no. Cesar.
He'll get big.
Yeah, he cheated on his wife during that show. I just started watching him because he's on my my regular TV. I turn it on. He's always on. Yeah, he's a G for us. I said, man, I feel kind of guilty. I think this guy kind of fruity. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't even watch it. I Googled it just to make sure I was straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, he playing for real. Like,
we need that masculinity back in the house.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, and that goes back to these single parents not having that, or just an alpha male to look up to, an uncle or a grandfather, something. But they don't.
We here.
I think that's a personal attack. They're attacking masculinity, dude. And, they're trying to like demonize it back, right?
Oh, yeah,
but you need to control, because if I'm following Bird, I'm not following the government. Like, you know what I'm saying? And what they say, because Bird said the personal carry, and the government said, hey, those are dangerous. Like, you need to have less rounds in it. You know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. So Bird said, carry the extendo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Get a couple of them.
And not to use it unless you need to. Like, you know?
Oh, I love these videos, dude.
Oh, yeah, this was a good one.
The King Charles.
And this guy ain't even the big boy.
But look at the big black dog. You saw what he did? We're gonna watch it.
He bowed down.
He saw him coming and ducked.
That's a good video.
And he ain't even doing it. Look, you saw how gentle he put that.
Calm confidence, man.
But look at the German Shepherd too. He starts warning everybody. Look.
He like, hey.
Oh, there goes.
That's a beta.
What's going on? My bad, dog.
But the black dog was twice his size, and he bowed to him.
Yeah, wow.
He come up to the troublemaker first. The same thing that I'm saying, like, you know, we need to confront, you know, all this bullshit, you know.
And they're making it seem like that's toxic masculinity, machismo.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Hey, I go right in there. Those girls be, you know, I'm still in the dating scene, so they'll be like, man, you sound very misogynistic and stuff like that. And I say, girl, I am misogynistic. Yep. Like, I'm not playing with you. Like,
put it on the table.
Yeah, I'm not playing.
Go and take care of that bill. See what she says.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We'll split it.
Well, yeah, split it. Yeah, no, they don't want to know that. I'm gonna drive you here. I'm gonna pay for valet.
I'm gonna hide behind you if somebody comes shooting. Okay? Is that all right?
Come on, bro. You're not. Yeah.
You too masculine for me.
Yeah. Well, shit, you can go with that other dude who getting boinked in the asshole on the weekends, like, because that's what they do. Like,
you want to beta male? To go with the beta male.
Yeah.
Because they want to be boss bitches, and that's the
she can.
But you know what? She ain't gonna be happy, and you're gonna be finding me in 5 years.
I still get the text messages. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I should have stayed. Yeah, you should have. But
so, in your perspective, where's the middle ground on that?
On the misogynistic type of stuff. And like, well, I think it's more so like men have always been men, and like we like, as far as like men who I think view the way that I view it, I think we do have to kind of be careful. We have to downplay it a little bit, like it's like a hidden belief.
Agreed.
You know, to
which
a
is
degree.
Healthy.
Which is healthy because we are going back to what Bird said. We're in this huge society with all these different beliefs, so it's like cool, but like I just have to draw my own little personal bubble, like. Hey, you don't do that around me. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to tell them. Like, you can date somebody else. Like, you know, you can go, I know what you were involved with your last man, but look at where your last man's at.
Don't
like,
wear that around me. I don't want you out here fucking thong in front of everybody.
Yeah. Exactly. You know? So I kind of draw it from the jump like that. And man, you'll see their mind start to think, because I ask them about their father. That's the first thing I try to go for. Is like, what's your relationship with your father? Yep. How's your daddy? When was the last time you talked to your daddy? That type of shit. Oh man, my daddy, this and that. Or, oh, I love my father, but he's too misogynistic type shit. It's just like, well, he used to whoop you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, start to
discipline you.
Yeah. So I start to get into those conversations with it to see how traditional chick is. And unfortunately, because of going back to government programming, stuff like that, fathers have been taken out of the household and been downplayed. Or you give a whooping in the middle of Walmart, and now you have a CPS case.
Yeah, no shit.
You know what I'm saying? So you ain't never gonna do that again. Now the child know he got the power over you. So I really try to go about it like in that demeanor, and then I don't even talk to them to a certain degree. Like if it's like, okay, this isn't gonna happen. Like I'm at the age now to where like I realize
we topped off.
I saw this girl, bro. She almost cried. I'm talking to a chick. My chick who I'm talking to, she puts me on FaceTime with her chick friend. And she's like, oh, you know, she's great story too. She's from Mexico. She's here. She's helping support her family back home. She stays in a high rise downtown. I mean, great story. So she's got a little bit of air about her. And, oh, I don't want a man to tell me what to do and all that other type of stuff. And I said, look, like, you do want somebody to support you to a degree. We start to get there, and I don't come at them aggressive because women can't, you know, like they can't. And I understand. It's just like an interpretation. I know that I need to speak your language. You know, I go to Google Translate if I need to speak whatever language you're
perfect.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just meet you where you're at. So I try to meet them where they're at, man. And I tell her, and I'm like, look, I'm sure you've had guys that you've been really interested in. You've talked to for like 2 or 3 months. They give you great sex. You like them, but because of your attitude, there's no place that they can fit in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead, it's just like this. And so they realize that. And because we're guys, I told her, I said, yeah, we'll fuck the shit out of you. We'll have a good time with you. 2-3 months later, gone. And you out here messing with this normal dude who's, normal values, but he make you feel good because he ain't never been with a baddie before. I've been with baddies, so I don't need to, you're so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And I'll still give a compliment. You're dressed nice tonight. It's not that. It's just that I'm not going to put you on the pedestal because at the end of the day, going back to religion and stuff like that, you're built from my rib. You're supposed to be my support. You're supposed to elevate me, and then I will elevate you. And not to say that women can't be leaders or anything like that. It's not to go to that level. Inside of a relationship, though, masculinity needs to be from the man, not from the woman. And I even told her that. I said, you're very masculine. And I said, you're not going to, and she's 30 years old. She just turned 30. I said, you're very masculine. You're not going to find the person that you want. You will find a person, I told her.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find the man that you actually want to be with because there's just no place for him. So
and a lot of people don't understand that though, right? Like a lot of people don't understand like how could a woman be masculine? That simple blockage
Boss
can
bitch.
cause
That's the easy way to put it out there for the YNs. And boss bitches, they got that mentality.
Especially the attitude. The attitude
I'm
behind
gonna give you
it.
some quick old school game right now.
Tell me.
You tell the women this. This is my perspective. Men are the head of the household, but the woman is the neck.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the neck controls the head.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
If you understand that concept, you will have a great marriage. That's my wife and I. We were just in harmony with that because from the beginning, I said, look, I'm gonna be the head of this house, but you're the neck, and so we will, make plans together. We will do what we have to do together. But that's how it works for me. She's like, I'm the same way. A lot of women aren't wired that way nowadays because they want to be the boss bitch, but they don't understand that when you become a boss bitch, the caliber of man that you want is not going to be, you want a beta. You want to follow your lead, but then you don't like a weak man. Well, then you need to change your ways or change your thinking because you'll get a man. You're not the one you want.
Right. It's sad because they have been around. I think the majority of men out there are messing up and giving these women a bad interpretation of a man. So I look just like the next guy as far as, body structure and stuff. So they're like, oh no, you just as weak as my last man. So I need to lead because I don't trust. I've been in bad situations. He spent too much money. He stayed out late drinking. He has a drinking problem. So I need to, and it's like, I understand because that guy didn't have a father, and his father at this point with my generation, his father didn't have a father. So it's just like, I understand that there's been like this lack of leadership, but it is like you said, just reassuring like, hey, I'm here for this. This is my purpose. And outside of that, like, I don't do these things, like, and you can, like, what I'm saying, to a degree, but, you still gonna have to, and they hate it and love it when I say this. You have to jump when I say jump because I am the head. So if I need to turn my neck, like, what I'm saying, if I need to look that way,
you're there.
You're gonna have to,
unison,
because you have to trust what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to jump because I have a pride or ego. I'm telling you to jump because something is happening.
We're moving as one.
And you want me to sit there and say, baby girl, I feel like this, and so I would appreciate it if you jumped because on Saturdays I have a like, no, jump right now, like, what I'm saying.
And that means a real true relationship only functions like that, and it takes a lot of
compromise
on both sides. Yeah, you have to know when to bow your head. You have to know when to be like, give her space and her time or her respect or whatever, and that is loaded, but there has to be harmony. There has to be synchronicity.
Yes.
That's the only way it's going to work thoroughly,
But the women nowadays, they don't even see that anymore because they just see what's on TV, what they want, or, Kardashian they're not seeing that. But they want it, but they don't understand what they want. Yeah. It's the craziest thing.
Well, their mama had that relationship. But it goes against our natural fibers of how we were created.
Yes.
And like he's saying, like, you're from our ribs. You're like, we are one, but there's an order to things.
Yeah.
And Satan and whoever you want to call it, has distorted the order. Yeah. And that's why I feel for like these younger cats that are in the dating scene and they want to find somebody, but they're constantly finding the same person is this boss bitch or this beta male. And every time, every time these situations happen, it's a common occurrence and the same pattern of, well, I can't rely on no man, so I have to do everything. And the guys are being like, you can't be too much of a man because you're gonna step on these women, and it's
confusing.
It's a perfect example. Nancy Pelosi. the third husband she married had to change his name to her name, had signed contracts. He ended up being gay, but you know.
Of course, I just said.
End up being gay.
On the weekends, they get pointed.
Yeah.
For
But
real.
he's just there just to have a husband, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But that man had to
Status.
sign contracts. But that's I hate to say it, like I don't like her that much, but she has that boss bitch role. She's in Congress and all this shit. So you had to bow down and marry her. And this guy had to change his name to her name. It's kind of nuts. And just so many rules he had. And she's never around him anyway. That's why he had his lover on the side. But,
looking at the money. They're looking at power.
And some men
money.
are like that. Go for it. But that's the kind of man you're going to get. That's the kind of man you're going to get right there.
And that's why the world is where it's at. Because we have lost that role of masculinity and to be allowed to thrive.
Like the crudes. I don't know when we talked about the crudes.
Well, they're shaming you. You know what I'm saying? For being masculine, they're shaming you now. It's like,
Yeah, and then you got the weak mentality to follow through with that as opposed to say no. If that's how you're gonna live with me, I am okay with that.
But we are evolving now. It's coming back because they got rid of it the last fucking 8, 9, 10 years. They've been no masculine, nothing. But
Did y'all see?
They're coming. Yeah, well, the women, they're just at the point where like more women are saying, I want to be a housewife. And I was with a chick for a minute and she was like, oh, I want to be a housewife. I want to be a housewife to you, And it's like, okay, well, I need you to see these things out of you before I go get. I'm gonna spend some money on some jewelry. If it's you, my chick, I gotta go get the wedding ring, all that type of shit. If you're gonna be my chick, this is what I need. And she just never had seen the example, so she didn't know how to do the
major thing.
And I think that her heart might have been there, and like I want to be with you, but I don't think that she just knew like. Okay, this is what women do. This is what a man wants.
This is the roles.
Like they don't even know what you want. They think all you want is sex. Like, and to a degree, that's probably 70% of it. To be real with you,
right?
Like,
if they had only known, that's the release valve. You get everything you need.
Like I'll go get whatever you want, but like I still need to be cooked for. I still need to be celebrated. Like to a degree, I'm still gonna need things for my own edification, not just sex, because. Those betas, those are the ones who are looking for just the sex because, again, they were probably raised by no father, single mother household. So mommy always coddled you. And you're just looking for mommy again. Like, I don't need mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that stuff. And, to a degree, like you'll see, at least for me, right? I'm in that 33, 35 range. I'm 33 currently. But I'm starting to see these girls like the 30, 35. They ready for it and they just don't know. Like, and they're like, oh, my time is going. I want children or at least one kid or whatever. And they don't know how to just submit. So now they're in this anxious position where I want to have a relationship, don't know how to let go of my ego. And so I'll go with this guy, marry him for 3, 4 years, 7 years. And now he's
too late.
Now you want to go cheat on him.
Cause more damage.
Because you're gonna run into a guy like me. Like you know what I'm saying? And like you're gonna see.
If she doesn't see her fast forward of 5 years when she's 42, 43 and still single, and you got your like Chelsea handlers and all these boss bitches, but now they're in their 40s, 50s.
Fucking 20-year-olds.
And they're fucking miserable. They're mean. They're nasty.
You're right.
They hate men. And they hate the whole structure of a couple because
they never
did it. And like to what you said, they never learned how to be submissive. And to be an actual wife and a woman.
A woman. That's just lost. Like, they're, like you said, boss bitches, not women, not ladies. What happened to that? It's just gone. And they're like, oh, I'm not a bitch, like, oh, you just want me to be your bitch or whatever. Something very derogatory. It's like, I never said that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Never said that once. But yeah, like, I want you to be a lady. I'm doing this for your own uplifting. And they don't understand that discipline, again, because their father never whooped them because he wasn't there. Their father never said, hey, you don't have to show your titties. You're beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to show your thighs. You're beautiful without that.
And on that note, let's talk about this generation of the BBLs and all the, I call them toys.
Dude, everybody got
I call them toys.
now.
So these are toys for
Yeah.
men. So we're going to sleep with you, do all this shit with you. We ain't going to fucking marry you. So you're 25 now and you're giving it up. It's great. You're living a high life. At 35 though,
Yeah.
you're going to be single.
Yeah,
Or you're
yeah.
gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Or caught up in some of the bullshit because I call them toys. They're in the fast lane right now. The BBLs, titties out there just doing their clubbing, doing their thing.
Who's gonna honor that?
There's not gonna be a high.
Nobody's
Yeah, because
gonna
I
honor
see that and I know what the signal you're putting out there.
And
Like,
so-
yeah.
You a Hellcat.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I'm gonna go take you on a takeover.
Wreck it a little bit.
I got insurance.
Exactly. And I'm
It's
done.
for sale. But when you talk to real people, when you talk to real men, when you talk to people who are sympathetic and empathetic and who are logical and who are willing to be wrong, that's where we sit in this room.
That's key, though. Yeah, that's key because we are okay with being wrong. Like, I want to be proven wrong. I want to be corrected.
Yeah.
And one thing in the Bible, it says, a father that loves his son does what?
Punish.
Discipline.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody talks to you agitated, which may appear agitated, or what is it, like, you know, aggressive. Maybe that's love. And maybe you've never experienced it in that way. Give it a chance. Give it a shot. Give it a chance. Like, because it's like, you know, if I love you, I'm going to come after you and be like, bro, you fucking up.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Do this or try this or like stay on that. People seem like, oh, no, he's aggressive. He yells. I don't like him. Or like, you know, like they don't like to be talked in that correctional
way,
discipline.
Iron sharpens iron, man, and that's a stone against steel, and that's rough. Like, you know what I'm saying, something's grinding, something's getting taken away. You know what I'm saying, but all for the better, because that knife is about to be sharper.
Right.
All for the greater good.
And it might not happen today. It might happen 2 weeks from now. It may happen 2 years from now. But that's our goal. Our mission is to make a world where my kids can make a joke. They can think differently than you.
I want to take you from a YN to an OG.
Right.
Come on,
all on one podcast.
Because it starts today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It starts in the early years.
We here. Well, I appreciate y'all guys coming for this episode. It was a hell of a conversation. Thank y'all all for joining us. We please ask you to like, subscribe, message on the comments. Let us know if you want to be on the show. Let us know if you know somebody that you think would be great on the show. We're always pulling in random names, and you know, we want to get y'all scheduled in the show. So, anything to leave us on, man?
I think we had a great episode, man. And, you know, thank you guys for the support and for coming, because that really does make a difference. You know? But we also, you know, those 52 people watching, keep watching.
54.
Small goals.
Yeah. My closing statement is today's word of the day. Accountability, baby. It sucks, but dude, the moment that you tell yourself the truth or your poverties, they start to become not so heavy. Yeah. So take that with a grain of salt.
Jared, you want to leave on anything?
Man, that's it, man. I just appreciate y'all if y'all stayed this long on the podcast to watch the full thing. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all guys listening to opinions that may or may not align with you, you know, and like they said, if y'all guys ever want to come and give them a different perspective and give the audience a different perspective, like, we would love to hear it. You know, I would love to hear it. I love hearing different perspectives. You know, we're not closed-minded by any means. You know, it's just about what facts have we read and brought to the table, and what facts have you read and brought to the table. It's not about emotions. You know what I'm saying? So, but thank y'all for watching this.
Definitely.
And I want to tell all you parents out there, I'm going to give you a little free game. Stop being your children's friends. Be their parents. Discipline them, because our children are our future. And it starts at home. It starts with you being a parent, not a friend. That's all I got to say. I love all y'all.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Ruffled feathers.
Ruffled feathers, we here. Thank you guys. Yeah.